Hey besties, welcome or welcome back.
Lisa here, and I have got 67 incredible wood DIYs for you today. If you want to craft your best life with me, then let's get started right now. These 2 containers of colored buttons from the Dollar Tree and a wood plank from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to sand it down with my sanding sponge. And then I'm going to take my Antique Wax by Waverly and a water mister bottle. I'm just going to spray down that plank. And I'm just going to lightly cover it with some of the antique wax. I am going to wipe off the excess because what I'm doing is turning this into a stain instead of a paint. And now I'm just going to go around and do the sides as well. I've got this twine, also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to start measuring out what will be stems for flowers. So I'm going to do them of all different lengths. I'll do, maybe 3 or 4 longer ones, some middle-sized ones, a couple little ones, kind of whatever you want this to look like. It's going to be a bouquet of flowers, all right? So think of each one of those pieces as a stem in your bouquet. And I'm just going to hot glue them down and leave a little spot at the top where we're going to add the flowers. I'll do that. Added a few here, and now I'm going to put some more, and they're all going to crisscross at that very bottom midpoint, and that becomes where we tie the bouquet. And there they all are. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add a hanger. I'm going to use the metal connector piece of a clothespin, thread some twine through the holes, and then hot glue it to the back, and that's going to be a very nice sturdy hanger. Next, I'm going to dump out my buttons, and I'm going to start with maybe 5 or 6 larger buttons. And what's really cute is that one green one actually is the shape of a flower. That doesn't happen very often. Anyway, I'm going to pick all the different colors I want, and there are all the large ones. Now I'm going to start adding some middle size and smaller ones to fill in the rest of the bouquet. How adorable is this? I'm going to take some little teeny pieces of green, like sprigs from some pics that I already have, and I'm going to hot glue them all around the stems, and I just thought that looked so pretty. I've got this pink twine that I also got at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to wrap it around one of my fingers about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times, cut that off, and then I'm just going to hot glue that to kind of the bottom part where they gather, and I want to make it look like I tied that around all of the stems. And now I'm going to make a little shoestring bow and just attach it right there. I think I doubled up on the bow just to give it a little more substance, but that is it. Tell me this isn't just the prettiest thing. I love it. What a great use for those extra buttons. Let me know what you think.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
For this Dollar Tree button hack, I've got 2 different things of buttons here. I'm just going to dump them out. And I'm going to make the shape of a wreath using the buttons. So I'm going to use about 4 of the larger ones, and then between most of them, except for the very top, I'm going to put 3 smaller ones. And I'm just messing around with the colors I want. And then I'm going to sand the piece of wood. That's also from the Dollar Tree. I've got this Waverly white wax. So I'm going to put on a coat and then wipe it off and use it like a stain. I love that look. It just slightly tints the wood. And I'm going to do that all the way around the edges as well. Isn't that beautiful? It keeps it looking natural but clean. Now I'm going to start putting the buttons back on now that I've planned them out. And I'm just going to individually glue them on. I'll start with the larger buttons. That makes it a little bit easier. And then I'll arrange the 3 little buttons around each of them. And there you go. Now I've got this lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make an awareness bow with it. And I've got these little remnants from Dollar Tree scarves. I'm going to cut a rectangle size. I'm going to tie it in the middle, and then I'll trim off the edges, and that will become the bottom part of our bow. And then I'll make that lace bow to sit on top of it. And I thought that would look really pretty, very spring-like with the colors in the scarves. Their scarves are beautiful. There I go, just hot glue that right on the top. Isn't that cute? Now it looks more like a wreath. And then I'll make that little awareness bow. I'll just kind of tack the center with some glue just to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to angle the edges. I'm going to hot glue that right down. I'm going to put a really cute pink button right in the center, and I thought that would just finish it off because I hadn't used a lighter pink button. Now I've got these stickers from the Dollar Tree, and this one that was kind of long, rectangle shaped. It's got the little sticky tape on the back, and it says "Believe in Yourself," and I thought that looked so cute on here. I'm going to just add quickly a little sawtooth hanger on the back. And there you go. This one is done. I think it just came out beautiful. It was so simple, easy to make. Let me know what you think.
Has a reason.
scarf video, I'm going to use this beautiful kind of tropical looking scarf and this other kind of green one with leaves on it. I'm going to put both of these in this particular piece. And then I've got this kind of plaque looking thing. I think I got it at Family Dollar, but they also have them at Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to use the white wax from Waverly. It's like a stain almost. You can still see the wood grain through, and that's what I love about it, but it gives it a real clean look. Got several different ribbons from the Dollar Tree, including this lace one. And what I'm going to do is make a cute little wall hanging with the scarves. I'm going to figure out how long I want it to be. And then I'm going to just start cutting pieces of the scarves. I'm going to use the first cut to measure for the next ones. And I'm going to do that on both of the different scarves I have. Now, once I get the pieces, I'm going to do the ribbon. So I'm just going to hold out the ribbon as long as the scarf pieces and make some cuts there as well. You can do as many as you want. So this can be very full, sparse, whatever you like. You don't even have to do ribbon if you don't want to. Now I'm going to take the larger pieces, fold them in half and make a cut, and then fold them in half again and make a cut. That's about how wide I wanted my strips to be. I wasn't going for perfection because, they kind of roll up when you hang them and the edges you don't see as clearly. So I figured I could just go ahead and do that. So there's all the cut pieces. I'm going to take the seamed end of each one because it's easier to tie, and I'm going to make a little knot right at the top. And that's how I'm going to end up gluing it to the little wood plaque. I wanted them to pleat, and this was the best way to get the scarves to not hang like flat. I'm going to add a little hanger out of twine, and I'm going to use the metal part of a clothespin, thread that through there, put some hot glue and tape, and that's going to be a great hanger for this. You've probably seen me do this before if you've watched my channel. I came up with a pattern where I had like 2 pieces of the tropical floral scarf, and then one of the green one, and kind of whatever you want to do. It's, I'm kind of funny that way. I like patterns. There they are, all glued on. So of course, I didn't cut them all straight, so I'll have to trim that. And now I'm going to lift up the front there, and I'm going to add some of these different ribbons that I cut. Because if I put them in between or on the back, you just won't see them. And so I just, again, picked my own little pattern. Do whatever you want. You could use pretty colors too. I just wanted to go neutral on the ribbons. Now I'm going to go around and kind of cut from an angle from each side just to kind of give it a little bit of more length in the middle and a little less length on the sides. I've got this larkspur, these flowers from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to add the different colors, pink and kind of off-white, and make a little swag. I'm going to tie it together and then hot glue that right to the middle of the plaque. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to take one of these peonies from Amazon, and they're just stunning. I cannot find prettier flowers. And then the leaves, and add them to either side and the top and bottom. And I think this is just turning out so pretty. This was a very easy craft to make. It took longer to cut the pieces than it did to assemble it. I love crafts like that because it comes together so quickly. Isn't that fresh and summery? I mean, you could start putting it up in the spring too. What's to stop you? Love those tropical scarves. Let me know what you think. For this Dollar Tree scarf hack, I got this beautiful greenish scarf that has leaves on it. I found this little chicken cluck sign at Dollar General, I think, and then this little keep that same energy sign from Dollar Tree. And I just had them in my stash. So what I'm going to do is take out the backing on this sign because I don't want it to say the words that it has, but I want to use the sign because I love the little bead hanger. So I'm going to paint over this with the plaster color paint from Waverly. You could use white paint, whatever you want. I just need something light behind because you're not going to see it, but I don't want to see the words. Took about 3 coats. Then I'm just going to take my staple remover. I get this on Amazon. It's very heavy duty and it works great for those staples that are like embedded in the back of something. And you just pull them right out. So then what I'm going to do is get that little chicken. That's what I want. I'll save the other part of this for another craft in the future because I do love it. And I just took out my little pliers and just pulled those out because you can always get one out and the other one is very stubborn. So it's a cute little chicken sign. I'm going to take the scarf. I'm just going to cut a piece big enough to cover that square backing of the picture frame. And then I'm just going to use some Mod Podge and paint that on there and lay that scarf out, make sure it's on there without any wrinkles or bubbles. And with fabric, this is so easy to do. It just embeds itself right on there. You can use your hand, just kind of smooth it out. And once I get that on there and I smooth it all out, I'm going to trim some more of those edges, and then I'll go around the edges with the Mod Podge and kind of wrap them around the back and make sure they stay in place. I ended up using a little bit of hot glue too because I didn't want it to unravel as I put it inside the frame. And that really helped. I got it wet first with the Mod Podge off camera, and then I just did the glue. I thought, you know what? Now the fabric is more pliable. I can pull it over, see what I'm doing, and then it just stays and I don't have to worry about it. And the scarf is so thin that it will not make it difficult to get this back into the picture frame. Heavy fabric might have been a different story, but this stuff is not a problem at all, in case you're wondering. There it is. I'm going to turn it over so the leaves are kind of facing up. I'm going to hot glue the chicken right to the center. I thought, people will do black and red and white for farmhouse kitchens, but in the summer, wouldn't it be pretty to add a little bit of color? So I love this. So now I'm just going to place this back in, put the little clips, bend them right back down. That's how easy this one was to put together. I mean, I love it. You could change this out for all different times of the year with the different scarves at Dollar Tree. I think it would be super easy to do. Anyway, I loved it. Let me know what you think.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
Contact paper hack. I've got this beautiful contact paper. It's like a bunch of different colors with blues and greens and gray. And then I've got these little ends of socks that I had used for a previous project. I'm going to remove those little pieces of wood that are kind of over the top of the bunny carefully because I want to use them again. Now I'm just going to trace the bunny on the back of the contact paper so that we have a nice base for this bunny. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. I'm going to turn the bunny over because otherwise it will be the wrong direction from how I traced it. And just starting at one end, remove the back of the contact paper and slowly pull it out. And then I will just put it over the top of the bunny till it covers the whole thing. Then I'll take my sanding sponge and in a downward motion go around the edges that I can. And look how clean and nice that edge is. It's my favorite way to remove paper and things like that. Then I just took a X-Acto knife and cut out the rest. Now I'm going to make a quick hanger just using the metal piece from a clothespin and some twine, put it through the little coily part, make a knot, and I'll just glue it on, add a little masking tape as well under the glue, and that's it. Nice, secure hanger. You see me do this so many times. Now I'm going to take the inside of the ear that I took off and I'm going to use this fake wood kind of contact paper and just put it over the top and glue it back onto the ear. I thought that looked really cool. There's this round sign from the Dollar Tree and I just want the eggs from it. I'll use that round piece for some other project. So now I'm going to take that wood contact paper and I'm going to put all of the eggs on there. There's 3 of them. And then I'm just going to cut that out and then I'll sand around the edges just like I did before and get a nice clean edge. And now all of my eggs look like they are wood. I'll glue them on just the way I want to see them on there. You can do this any way you want. And then I'll replace those little bows I took off. Why not use them? They're super cute and they're the right colors for like an Easter spring craft. So now I'm going to take those little sock ends and I'm going to wrap it around the bunny's tail. So I just used one of them. I wasn't sure if I needed both, but I'll glue that on, wrap it around, and then add a little extra piece in the back so you can't see any of the wood. I thought this would be a really cute way. You could also make a pom-pom if you want. So this was just something I had from a previous project. I thought, why not use it up? I keep all these scraps, so it made sense to try to use them. Now I'm just going to glue that right back on to the little bunny. And that's it. This was so cute and easy. I really love this one. Very pretty. You can hang it up or just lean it, whatever you want. Let me know what you think. For this Dollar Tree contact paper hack, I'm going to take this wooden round from the Dollar Tree, which is super cute just the way it is. But I'm going to use the back side. I'm going to cut off the carrots. We will use the carrots, just not on that part of the sign the way they did it. This way we'll have a 2-sided sign. How's that? We won't waste it. I'm also going to remove the hanger for while I'm doing this. And I'm going to sand down any of the rough edges from where those carrots were stapled on. Now I'm going to trace this circle onto the back side of this beautiful orange and white gingham contact paper. I love this one. And then I will cut just enough, to get rid of the large pieces, because we can just do our little sanding trick and go around the edges once it's attached. It's so much easier than trying to place something very perfectly. I have trouble with that. So we'll just take off the top part and start carefully removing the bottom and smooth it out, and then just pull it all the way across. And there I go, sanding off the edges to get that nice clean look. And there it is, all ready to go. And there's the other side of the sign if we did want to use it. Now I'm going to poke a hole back where those holes are to get the hanger back in. And you can't see it, so I wanted to do it real quickly, make sure I get that hanger in there, because I love the beads on the twine for a hanger. That is such a cute thing. And if you didn't have one already, they're so easy to make. Now we're going to place our carrots on the bottom. I'm just going to position them where I want and then hot glue them in place. If you didn't have the carrots, they would also be pretty easy to make out of foam board, or if you have a wood laser cutting machine, you could, or possibly find some at the craft store. I've got this placemat, and I think this was from Dollar Tree as well, and I'm just going to cut out the part where it says, enjoy the little things, and I'm just kind of make it a nice little shape to fit on the sign. Couldn't make a perfect circle, so I just kind of rounded the edges of a little bit of a rectangle. And I'm just going to hot glue that right to the center of the sign. I thought that was really cute. And I think that the color in the background kind of complements the greenery on the carrots. So I thought that matched really well. Now I've got this really cute little white greenery. I got this at Walmart. They really have great greenery. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. The prices are really good as well. And I'm just going to put that around where the hole is for the hanger on both sides. Just kind of dress up the top a little bit. And that is all there is to this one. It was so easy. You do have a double-sided sign now. And I just love that contact paper. You'll have to let me know what you think. And if you would want to try something like this. Tree fabric hack. I've got this burlap fabric with flowers, and then I've got these hoops from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the larger of the two and trace around it, not about 3/4 of an inch around it, and then I will cut that out. Now I will tell you, this would have been much easier to cut had I pressed it first, but I did that after. Now I'm going to take the circle that I did cut out, and I'm going to cut another half circle, but first I'll trace the half circle out using the original one, and then of course I'll cut it. And you'll see here, again, it would have been easier if I'd pressed this first, but I just wasn't thinking about that at the time. I was just anxious to get started and make this project. Before I forget, I'm going to add my hanger. I'm just going to take a small piece of jute, do a lark's head knot where you put a loop over the top and pull the other two pieces through, and then I just tie a knot at the top and trim off any excess. So that's done and out of the way. Now I'm just going to iron this. You can use any iron you want. I just happen to use a little mini press iron. I'm going to take the half circle and I'm going to glue it over the top so both of the right sides up. Now I've got this beautiful burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut a piece to go across the top. But first I'm going to put my little silicone mat inside so I don't glue the two pieces together, just the ribbon on top of that top half circle piece. I hope that makes sense. Otherwise the glue would seep right through the burlap and it would seal shut my little pocket that I don't want to have sealed shut. Now I'm just going to wrap the excess ribbon around the back and tack it down with some hot glue. So now I've got my pocket, and I'm going to start gluing from the underneath up to the top of the little hoop, and I go back and forth turning it over both sides, and I'm just going to keep pressing that hot glue in there because I want this to go inside. Now if you had the kind of embroidery hoop that had two pieces, you wouldn't have to do this at all, but I didn't. So I'm making this work with what I have. There it is, all glued. Now on the top, it wasn't completely, as secure as I wanted, so I added some Beacon Fabric Tack glue around the whole front of that. Now I'm just going to trim off any excess. Now I've got a beautiful yellow flower and some greenery, and I'm going to put the greenery on first on the right side. This is just a little embellishment because I thought it would be really pretty with the yellow centers of the other flowers. So I put that on, and then I added a little white flower right to the center just to kind of coordinate the colors. And I thought it needed something else, so I added a cute little yellow button. I think this one turned out adorable. It might be my favorite today. I hope you like it. You have to let me know if it was yours too.
Every change has
Tree fabric hack. I've got that pineapple fabric, which is so cute. And I've got this little triangle piece from the Dollar Tree that had a succulent in it. So I just pulled off the succulent, pulled out the little nail that was holding it, and I cut a little piece of foam, like floral foam, and I just put, it's a very thin one, and I'm going to hot glue it to the very bottom inside of the triangle. I wanted that there on purpose because we're making a pin cushion. I'm going to use this Amy Howard at Home kind of off-white paint. I'm going to paint the whole thing, and then I'm going to cut a triangle piece that's a little bit larger than what I need and kind of measure that so that I have enough to tuck it in and glue it. I also, up in the right side, have some batting, like pillow stuffing, that we're going to use also for this pin cushion. So we'll start by hot gluing the piece of fabric to the inside. I end up switching to Beacon Fabric Tack Glue because it was easier to work with and it didn't dry quite as fast, and I needed a little more time for shaping this one. So now I'm going to add in my batting, and I'm going to start gluing with a combination of the hot glue and the Beacon Fabric Tack Glue. I found that ended up being the best combination in the end. And I'm just going to start attaching that to the inside. Now this was a little tricky, so I ended up using a little pokey tool that I have to kind of make sure I don't fold it in on itself too much, if that makes sense. I was trying to get like kind of those perfect rounded sides, which was very hard to do in a triangle shape. Not sure why I picked a triangle, but it's something I had on hand. So if you do this, maybe you'll want to do a circle or a square. So now I've got two sides done, and I'm just working on the last one. And I think I have a little excess fabric there, so I am going to trim some of that off. I didn't realize how much I was going to end up with. You know, it was all kind of trial and error. And there's the pokey tool where I'm kind of pulling up the pieces that were falling in, and then I will secure the whole thing around the triangle with some more Beacon Tap fabric glue when this is all done, just to make sure it's nice and secure. I think this is turning out adorable. I love that fabric, especially with the little white frame around it. And I'm just playing with this to get it just to the way I want it. It was a lot of trial and error, but I think it was definitely worth it in the end because it's working so well as a pin cushion. And then just the final securing with the extra fabric tack glue. I'm going to cover all the paint with Mod Podge just to seal it in, and that's it. I love this one. There it is with the pins in it, and they stick perfectly. That little bit of floral foam was just the right thing to add. Let me know if you would try this. I'm going to take two of these really pretty mauve colored socks, some popsicle sticks, and these wood slices, and you can get these on Amazon. I'm going to use my miter shears and just going to cut those little popsicle sticks because I'm creating ears. These are both going to be adorable little bunnies. So now I'm cutting out the heel because I want that white piece. You'll see we're going to use that for something in just a little while. So we're going to save those. Now I'm going to cut the middle section where there aren't any curves, and I'm going to trim off the white part as well. We're going to use this part of the sock to cover the bunny ears, which are the popsicle sticks. So we're going to glue the popsicle sticks onto this piece with some gaps between them, and then I'm going to start wrapping the sock around so both sides are covered by the sock, and then I'll snip them and just kind of hold them together with the hot glue. So you can see here I'm gluing the first piece that I'm going to fold over. Now once that dries, I will cut in between and leave just enough to be able to pull it to cover that edge. And then I'll snip either end so that I can fold those over and glue them as well. So that way it'll be fully covered with the sock. And this just gives us our cute little pink fuzzy bunny ears. The reason I use hot glue is because it dries so fast. You could use any glue you want, but with this, it's nice to have something that does dry quickly. Now you can see how that's going to go on the back side of that will be the bunny, actually the bunny butt. So now I've got them all done, and I'm just going to glue 2 ears to each one on the back side. Now we're going to go back to those little white fuzzy heels we cut out, and I'm just going to kind of trim off the pointy ends. Now I'm going to fold it into itself and kind of squish it together to make a little bunny tail. And then I'll just use some glue to kind of secure the pieces in place, and we'll use the smooth side as what we see. So you see how I'm starting to fold it into itself, and then I'll add more glue and just kind of keep rolling it around until I get the little bunny tail. Now you could use, yarn and make pom-poms if you want, but I thought since I had the white from the sock, why not use it? And I'm going to cover up that hole in the wood slice with this, and so that works out perfectly. I'll do the same thing to the other one. Now I'm going to take a Jenga block for each one, and I'm using the brown ones, which I don't see anymore, but I still had some. And that becomes our little stand. Isn't this adorable? It was so easy, and I just loved making it. Let me know what you think. This Dollar Tree sock hack, I've got some pink and white socks, I've got some jute, or actually nautical rope, and then some wire jute, and then I've got this cute little tray I got a long time ago at the Target dollar spot, and these gorgeous flowers from Walmart. And then I've got a little bit left over from a Dollar Tree scarf. I'm going to start with the nautical rope, and I'm just going to hot glue it around kind of just underneath that top little edge of the tray, and I'll go all the way around. Then I'm going to take a piece of nautical rope. I'm just going to measure, 2 even pieces, and I'm going to do a lark's head knot around each of those handles. And that's where you just put a loop over and pull the 2 ends through. Now I'm going to take the wire jute, and I'm going to attach it through the lark's head knot there and leave a little excess on each end. And then I'm going to pull up the center to create a bigger kind of a handle than what there is, so it goes all the way across, and that's with the wired jute. Then I'm going to wrap the nautical rope that was remaining around that wired jute, and I'm going to hot glue it on. See, that's how it looks when you do both sides. Now I'm going to snip and attach the ends of the jute at the bottom by the lark's head knot and put it down with some hot glue to make sure it doesn't lift up. And then I'm going to take the whole thing and attach it to those other handles with the hot glue. So now I'm going to take 2 more pieces of the wire jute, and I'm going to create 2 bunny ears, and I'm just kind of measuring on the top to see about the right size. And I'll make sure they're both the same, and then I'm going to take the socks and I'm going to stick that right in there to give me a bunny shape and kind of hold the edges in that curve so they don't fold into themselves. And then I'll add a little bit of hot glue towards the top of each one. I'm also going to use some foam board and just cut 2 pieces to stick inside to make sure that is even more sturdy. I wanted the round shape, that's why I used the wire jute, but I still want the stiffness for the whole thing, and that's why I'm using the foam board. Now I'm going to put that inside the sock, and then I realized it was too thick at the bottom, so I am going to snip the ends kind of down into a little point. I'm going to add a bunch of hot glue, and I'm going to attach that to the top of that handle that I made, and then I'm going to add more glue and wrap the bottom of the sock, or actually it's the top of the sock, around itself and hold it in place, and I will add some clips until it's dried. And I'll do the same thing with the other ear. So there you go. And then I also glued in between in the middle to hold them together a little bit more and put the clamps to hold them in place. Now it's still not standing up the way I want because the wire jute isn't real sturdy. So in a second I'll show you how I fix that. But in the meantime I'm going to tie a knot right in the middle of that scarf, and I'm just going to make a simple shoestring bow, kind of play with it till it looks the way I want, and then I'm going to hot glue it right between the bottom of the 2 ears. I'm going to leave those tails on there for now. We're going to need them. I've got 2 dowels from, I think they were from Dollar General or Walmart. I'm not sure. I'm going to take those dowels, I'm going to take the pointy side and push it through the inside of the sock going up towards the top. I'm going to do that with both of them. Once they're in place, I'm going to put the dowel down next to the handle and hot glue, a lot of hot glue right there. We're going to cover that up with the remaining tail from the scarf. Just going to kind of glue that around, tuck it in, and that will cover up the handle that wasn't so pretty, but it's just more functional. And then I'm just going to, bend down the ears, and now we've got this cute little bunny tray. I think it's adorable. You'll have to let me know what you think. This was one of those times where I was just thinking out of the box. Functional kitchen DIY. I've got these wire baskets. I've got a page from a calendar at Dollar Tree, some zip ties, and a piece of, I guess it's like a paneling I got at Lowe's for free in their scrap pile. I'm going to rip around the edges of my calendar page just because I want it to blend a little better when I attach it to this piece of paneling. There it is, all done. Now I'm just going to position this on here and see exactly where I want to put it. The colors just really blended well. I'm going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm going to start in sections, and I'm going to attach this calendar page. And as always, I will use my brayer, which I love to use because it helps it make better contact. Now I'm just going to complete the rest of it, and then I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the top. I'm going to take my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just going to do some dry brushing where I put some on my brush, wipe most of it off, and then drag it around the edges of the picture, and then also all over this piece of paneling. I wanted it to look a little more distressed, and that helped blend with the calendar page as well because it was a little darker. You could add as much or as little as you like. Now I'm going to put my baskets where I want them and then draw some dots where I'm going to need to drill holes to attach the baskets to this piece of paneling. If you haven't figured it out, this is going to be a cool little produce holder. Now I'm just going to put a piece of wood underneath to lift it up a little bit. I'm going to take my drill and I'm just going to make the holes where I made those little dots. And then I'll do the other two. Now I'm going to take this very thick nautical rope from Dollar Tree. I'm going to start about halfway across on the bottom, glue it to all of the edges, and then what's left I will leave up on the top as a hanger. Then I'll add one more piece across the top, and this just gives it a nice finished look. Of course, this is optional, but I like the way it turned out. There you go. Now you can see how it all looks. I'm going to reinforce the back with some hot glue. Obviously, I don't want to do it on the front because you might see it. And I'll go around the whole thing. Now I'm going to come in from the back with one of my zip ties. And then I'm going to pull it through the basket around some of the wires and back through the hole to the back side. And then I'll attach it and pull it tight. I'll snip off the excess and I'll do the same thing. I ended up adding a second one to each to give it more stability. I love how this turned out. It's so cute and it's very functional. Winning combination. What do you think? Functional kitchen hack. I've got this magnet that shows kitchen measurement conversions. I've got a spatula from the Dollar Tree, some twine and some greenery, and a little bow that came from Walmart. First thing I'm going to do is just add a hanger to the very top where the hole is. That way it's done and I don't forget. I don't know about you, but I always forget about conversion, so it's kind of nice to have something like this handy. I'm going to hot glue the magnet just to the flat part of the spatula. Then I'm going to attach the little bow up towards the top near where the hole is for the hanger. Then I'm going to cut these little pick pieces and I'm just going to add them underneath the bow just to give this some cute greenery and interest, and it's such a farmhouse look. I love it. I decided that I needed to add just a little bit more because the handle just seemed so plain to me. So I've got this gingham ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut a little piece, wrap it around, and hot glue it onto the base of the spatula. And I thought that was just the perfect addition to this, just to give it just a little more fun and interest. I absolutely love how this turned out. It was such an easy DIY, so cute, and there's so many possibilities you could do with something like this with the kitchen magnets. What do you think?
Every change has a reason.
This gift bag hack, I've got this gorgeous floral gift bag, and then I've got this cathedral window, and then this little plaque from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to take that piece off the top, use my heat tool to get off the glue that's on there, and my little scraper tool. There you go. Now I'm going to cut the bag big enough to cover this little wood plaque. I'm going to use some Mod Podge. Just spread it on there. I'll do it in sections and then apply the piece of the gift bag. I will use my brayer to make sure that it is adhered perfectly to the surface, and then I'll do the rest. Now I'm just going to trim off the excess. I'm also going to go in a little bit deeper with a sanding sponge and go around the sides and make sure that it's a nice clean edge. Now that that's complete and you can see the beautiful edges, I'm going to place the cathedral window on top and see exactly where I need to add the glue on the back side. So I'm just going to take the hot glue, put it on those spots that I know are going to make really good contact with the little plaque. Now once the glue's on there, I'm just going to place it face down on the back. And I love this because what you see through is the beautiful florals from the gift bag. Now I'm going to take some greenery. I'm just going to make like a little swag and put two pieces, one on each side. And then I'm going to add some little leaves in the middle just to cover up those stems. And the last thing I do is just take this beautiful flower. It was from a pic from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to glue down the little leaf part first and then put the flower right in the middle. This turned out so beautiful, so easy, and it already has a hanger on the back, so that sure does make this easy to deal with. I love this one. You'll have to let me know what you think. It might be my favorite from today, and let me know if it's yours too.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you. Every soul, every season.
Gift bag hack. I've got this gorgeous gift bag. They had so many beautiful ones, and this MDF home sign with a heart at the end. I'm just going to cut out a piece big enough to go over the top of the home sign. We're going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to lay it over the entire top of this piece of wood. And then I'm going to place that piece of the gift bag over the top, roll it with my brayer to secure it. And what I probably should have done first was paint the other edges and the back, but oh well, I thought about it afterwards. So I'm going to trim off some of the edges. Then I'm going to use that Amy Howard off-white paint, and I'm just going to paint the back, the sides, and those inside pieces because I want this to look more finished. I'm not fond of the MDF, coloring. I'm sure most of us aren't. So there I go. I'm just going to paint the whole thing. So there it is, all dry. And now what I need to do is cut off the excess of the gift bag. I'm just going to use like an X-Acto knife blade and go all the way around. Now I've got the holes to deal with. So the easiest way to do that is just to kind of poke from the front very carefully and use that X-Acto knife and just cut inside of them. And that works out the very best. Do that to each of the holes. Now to get rid of any of the rough edges, I'm just going to take a little nail file and go around all of the outside and the inside of the holes. And then I'm going to take some Mod Podge and put it all over the top and inside the edges, and that helps anything that's kind of rough, lay down. And I know this is a busy pattern, so you can't read the word as easily, but I just thought it was so pretty. So I decided to take this piece of fern from Walmart, cut it off, from the larger piece that it is, and glue the home sign right on top of it. And I just thought that was pretty to add some greenery. This is totally optional. You don't have to do this. You could use any color gift bag you want if you want to be able to read the word a little better. I just kind of like it, and I think it would look pretty hanging in the inside of a wreath even, or even just by itself. It's totally your own personal taste. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I know sometimes people say, I wouldn't do that, or I would do this, and that's great. This is simply for inspiration. I want you to do things the way you want to do them. This is just to help you get there.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you. Every soul, every
button hack. I'm going to use only the dark buttons, and then I'm going to use 2 of these wood squares. And you can get these either at Dollar Tree or on Amazon. They sell them at the craft stores. I'm going to use my antique wax. I'm just going to use it as a stain by painting it on and then wiping off the excess. And I'll do that to both pieces, both sides, and around the edges. Now I'm going to find some similar size buttons and color of the dark color that I wanted. I'm going to use hot glue and I'm going to stand them up, going all the way around the square. You can see what I'm doing here. So just putting a little glue on the bottom, holding it in place until it stays, and just continuing to do this as I go all the way around. Off camera, I took that second square piece and I just glued it right to the top of all those buttons. Now I'm going to cut up some of these little pics from some beautiful spring florals I've had in my stash from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to put one of the kind of fern looking ones on each side and one with the little leaves on the opposite side, just to give it a little bit of color and interest. This is going to be a little candle stand, so you can just put a small candle sitting right on top of it. I wouldn't go too heavy on this one because we just use hot glue, but if you wanted to use something like E6000 or super glue, then you could put something heavier on it. But it was more decorative than anything. And I just really love the look of it. It's very simple, very farmhouse, and it would go with almost any decor really because it's just very basic in its colors. Very easy too. You'll have to let me know what you think. I really love how it turned out. If you wanted, you could actually make a set of 4 of these and then seal them and turn them into coasters. That would be very cute. Frame from the Dollar Tree, 8x10, and then I've got a little piece of cardboard that I'm going to use my Cricut just to kind of score out a shape of a bunny, because you know, freehanding it won't come out quite as nice. So I just ran it through and now I'm just going to cut it out. It didn't go all the way through the cardboard. I don't have the right blade for that. I'm going to take everything out of my frame, you know, the backing and the glass and so forth, so that I can start working on what I'm going to do to the frame. I decided to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, which I got from Amazon, to paint the frame. I'm just going to go around and paint it. I'm not trying to get like a very solid coverage because I will be distressing it. So I've done the whole entire front sides and the back. Now I'm going to take the inside portion that has the stand on it, and I'm going to figure out with some paint sticks that I also got at Amazon how many I need to actually fit across the whole thing and create some kind of faux shiplap planks. Now I'm going to tape them all together, and I used my square to make sure they were all even. That way when I put them in my little, you know, box miter saw, they'll stick together and I can cut them all at one time. You see how nicely that's happening? And then I'm just going to sand the ends, and I'm going to use my Aleene's Quick Dry Tacky Glue, which I'm really liking, by the way. I ordered that on Amazon as well. And I'm just going to glue each one of the planks, and they fit perfectly now on there. And all I have to do at the end is just sand around the edges just a teeny bit. I'm going to use my little Dollar Tree clamps to hold them in place. And there they are. Now I'm going to sand the entire surface with my little sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use some burnt umber acrylic paint from Apple Barrel and mix it with some water. And I'm going to use a little foam brush, and I'm just going to apply it across the whole thing and basically treat it like a stain. And I didn't even rub it off because it was just fine the way it was. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that Rust-Oleum white linen chalk paint, and I'm just going to dry brush across the top. Now I've got this cute piece of material from many years ago. I'm just going to cut a smaller piece, and I'm going to use my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, which is great for fabric. And I got that on Amazon too. And I'm going to apply that to the bunny, and I'm going to put my fabric right on it. I'm going to take my brayer and I'm going to roll right over the top of that and make sure it's adhering really well. And I'll take some scissors and cut it out. And I'll use a blade for any little pieces I couldn't get with the scissors. Now I am going to take that white paint again, and I'm just going to go around the edges and make it bleed a little over onto the front. I'm going to hot glue the bunny right onto the middle of my planks, and then I'm going to take some Mod Podge. I'm going to use matte. I'm just going to do the wood planks. Now I didn't want to do it before the bunny was on because I didn't think the bunny would stick as well. And all I have to do now is put it in the frame. But I decided I still wanted to distress that frame. So I just take a nail file and go all the way around. You guys, this is so easy. It came out so cute, very rustic, and I really love it. One of the great things about this is you can use any fabric or scrapbook paper or napkins. If you like, you could paint it any color and just customize it to your decor. Let me know what you think down in the comments. 2023 calendar. I love these calendars so much. And then I've got this cute little cutting board from Hobby Lobby that was on 40% clearance when I bought it. If you turn the calendar over, there's a little bit of a medium like size picture, not as small as the little ones on the back and nowhere near as big as the page of the calendar. And it says Home Sweet Home and it's a little pig. So I just cut that out. And I'm just going to look at it and see how it's going to fit on there. And I think I'm just going to cut off the little corners and give it like a little angled look. I like the way that looks. And I think that looks much better on the cutting board. I'm going to take my scissor blade and I'm just going to rough up the edges. I learned this from my friend Linda at Linda's DIY by Design. I will link her channel down in the description box. She's really talented. Anyway, I'm going to take a Jot glue stick, just put it all over the back of that little piece, and then I'm going to place it towards the lower side of the little mini cutting board. You guys know I love cutting boards. They're so cute. I just can't seem to get enough of them, and I love switching them out. Let me know if you started decorating with cutting boards too. I'm going to take my Mod Podge and I'm just going to cover the paper part that's on there very carefully. Then I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum chalked linen white paint and the other side of a paintbrush, a smaller one, and I'm going to make 4 little circle dots on each of those angled ends. I thought that would look so cute. So I'm just going to go around and do that to all of them, and there we go. And I just thought that was adorable. I've got this farmhouse ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It's so cute. It's got farm animals. And would you believe there is a pig? Anyway, I'm going to take a piece and make an awareness type bow and then just cut off the excess. One thing I like to do is add a teeny bit of hot glue just to hold it in place. I don't know why, but I struggle with holding my bows in place. So if I do this, it just means I don't have to worry about it anymore. Then I'm going to take the 2 ends, fold them in half, and then cut from the very bottom up towards the top off the corner and make a dovetail. And I think that looks so cute. Next thing, I'm going to take a little piece. I'm going to make sure the pig is right in the center, and I'm going to wrap that around and make that the center of my bow and just tack it on the back with some hot glue. And now I've got a cute little farmhouse bow with a pig right in the center. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so cute. It even says the word oink. I don't think it could get any cuter than that. I'm going to hot glue it right to the handle of the little cutting board. Now I'm going to take some little greenery pieces, very small, and just kind of put them sticking out of the bow with some hot glue. I like just adding a little bit of greenery here. I feel like it just breaks up, you know, the wood and the black and white. It just needed a little pop color, and I'm going to add another little piece right in the center. That's it. This one was so easy, and I think it's gorgeous. It's so farmhouse and sweet. And I don't know about you guys, but I really love pigs. Let me know what you think. Dollar Tree calendar hack. We're going to use the Today is a Good Day calendar, and then we're going to use the page that says Today is a Good Day for a good day. I love that one. I love the colors on this one too. They're so bright and cheery. I'm also going to use that piece of cardboard that comes with the calendar. And then I have these 2 paint stir sticks. They are from Amazon. That's why they don't have the little squiggly end on them. I'm going to use my paper cutter and just cut down the calendar till it fits the size that I want it to be. And then once I have that situated, I will take the cardboard and cut it as well to match the size of the calendar piece. So I'm going to trace it on there, and then I can use the paper cutter and also cut the cardboard. You can make this any size that you want. Now that I have the piece cut, I'm going to put some Mod Podge just on the top. I'm going to start with a small section and adhere the calendar page to the very top of it. I will take my brayer and rub that over the top to make sure it's nice and attached. And then I'll start working my way down with the Mod Podge and the brayer until I have the entire thing attached. And then I'll just trim off if there's any little pieces of the cardboard showing. I'm going to take the paint stir sticks and position them on there. I'm going to make this look almost like a little banner. So I'm just going to draw a couple lines where I want the ends to be cut off. I'm going to use my miter shears from Amazon. Makes it very easy to cut through very thin things like this. And then I'll just cut the other one according to the size of the first one that I cut. I'm going to sand the edges so that they're not too sharp. Then I'm going to take hot glue and I'm going to attach the bottom and the top pieces to the calendar page. And that gives us that cute little kind of banner look. I love this. I'm going to take some Mod Podge and go over the calendar page. I decided to leave the wood in its natural color. I'm going to take this little metal piece from a clothespin and a piece of very thin twine, thread it through the coily part. I'm going to use that as a hanger on the back by just hot gluing it on there and then securing the remaining jute down. Very easy and a very secure way to make a hanger. I'm going to take some greenery from Amazon and just kind of snip off some pieces and make like a little swag at the bottom. I will tie it with some jute so it's nice and secure, and that also gives us something to glue it down with where the jute is. So I'll just do that. I'll put some hot glue right on the bottom there. You can put this on the bottom or the top. I just decided to do the bottom. Then I've got a beautiful flower here. I think it's a rose from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take it apart and put the leaves on first, snip off those little ends, and then put the rose right in the center. And the colors go perfectly with this calendar page, and it's just so beautiful. It's going to be so nice in the spring. I love it. You'll have to let me know what you think. This one was so easy, and look how beautiful that is. Now you do see a little bit of the cardboard lines, but I don't mind at all. It's very cute. Let me know what you think. This 4x6 frame, and then I've got these hearts. They're little wooden cutout hearts and some jute twine. And then I've got the little mini clothespins also. I'm going to go ahead and take apart the frame. We don't need the inside except for I'm going to use it to cut out the shape on a piece of, it's actually the back of a gift box that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out. And then I'm just going to make sure that it fits right over that back piece of the frame. I'm going to take my ink chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to paint the whole frame in black. The sides, around the edges, but not the back. Don't need to do the back at all. And it only takes one coat since the frame is on the darker side to begin with. I'm going to take this Sunny Days pack of scrapbook paper that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to pick this piece. It's really pretty with the pink kind of stripes. And I'm going to trace out that shape that I had cut out on the back of the gift box. I'm going to take my Jot glue stick from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to generously put that on there, and I'm going to attach the piece of scrapbook paper that I cut out. And I like to do it in sections. That way it doesn't move around too much. I can just kind of secure it at the one end and then attach the rest. I'm going to use my brayer to make sure that that has full contact. Then I'm just going to take my scissors and trim off any excess around the edges that I might have gotten, because I tend to cut things a little bigger on purpose. I'm going to take some Mod Podge, and I'm going to cover the whole frame in that. Now I'm going to take that jute twine, and I'm just going to hot glue it to the back top corner of the piece that's going to be inside the frame. And then I'm going to pull it down because I'm going to be hanging some things from it, and I'm going to attach it on the other side on the back as well. And that way I can cut the exact size piece that I need. Got those little wooden hearts I mentioned, and I'm going to peel off the little stickers on the back. We don't need them. And I'm going to attach them with the clothespins to the little jute twine. I started off with all red, and then I thought, you know what? I think those little pink glittery ones would look really pretty too. So I replaced the two red ones on either end, and I did that with the pink instead. Now I'm just going to place the pieces back inside the frame. First the piece with the little hearts hanging, and then the backing so it has its stand. I'm just going to kind of arrange them and make sure they're sitting just the way I like, and that's it. I think this one is adorable. You'll have to let me know what you think. I love it. It's one of my favorites from today's video, and I hope that it's yours too.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
This Dollar Tree frame hack, I've got this really cute 3.5 by 5 frame that has the little tag on the bottom. And then I've got this tote bag that I got, and I've used a little bit of it before, and I just love it. I'm going to take the frame apart, and of course that tag was right over there, so I have to peel that off as best as I can. Now I'm going to take that little piece of cardboard, and I'm just going to hold it over the heart that I want to use on that tote bag, and then I'm just going to cut that out bigger than it really is, and then I'll trim it in just a minute. I'm going to take the backing of the frame, and I'm just going to place it on there right where I want it, and then I'll just with a pencil quickly trace around it so that I can cut that out and get exactly the right size that I need. And I thought this particular heart looked really good with this color of frame. I'm going to put some Mod Podge on that backing there. Now you notice I put a little Dollar Tree sticker on there that says, "Will you?" And what I didn't realize when I took it out is that it had like a blue background. And so I didn't even show you that I put it on there because I'm going to take it off, and you're going to see that in just a minute. Anyway, I have got these little teeny hearts made out of wood that are cut out. So you can get these at most craft stores. I'm just going to hot glue them right inside that little tag area. And that's when I realized I can't handle that thing with the blue on it. So I took it off. I've got these cute little off-white flowers. I'm just going to pull them off the pick, and then this beautiful rose. And I'm just going to hot glue the green backing. It came off, and then there was 3 leaves, and it covered the picture, so I cut one of the leaves off. That's what I like about pulling picks apart, is you can make them fit any way that you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue that right on there, and then I'm going to take that rose and put it right there in the center. And then I cut up those little baby flowers. I'm just going to stick them in all around, one on each side and one towards the bottom. Now once I have those in there, I've got this other pick. I think it's like a boxwood pick. I'm just going to cut it in half, and I'm going to put one on each side just to give it a little more texture and interest. I like mixing up the different picks and florals. I just think it makes it more interesting to look at. Now I've got a red marker from Dollar Tree that's almost out of ink, but that was perfect because I barely wanted it to have a little red on those little wooden hearts. So I just put that on there, and it was just the perfect shade. It actually kind of matches the center of that flower. So anyway, I love this one. Let me know what you think. It's a little more rustic, but I think it's so cute. Dollar Tree frame hack. I got this cute little teeny frame. It looks like it's like a place card for a wedding or something. And I've got 2 Jenga blocks. I've got 2 beads. And then I've got 4 little hearts, and I'm just going to use all those. You can get little heart cutouts at Dollar Tree or any of the craft stores. I'm going to paint the 2 Jenga blocks white, but one of them I need to cut down. I want it to be slightly smaller, so I'm just going to kind of draw a line and use my miter shears. I get those from Amazon, and I'm just going to cut it. Now, it's a little thick, so you've got to really push, and sometimes I just turn it over and do it from the other side as well, and then I kind of pull it off, and that worked out great. And then I sanded the end. I am going to take a piece of tape and put all these little pieces on there so they don't move around. So I'm going to paint the bigger heart red. I'm going to paint the littler hearts in this pink acrylic paint. And like I said, the Jenga blocks in the white. Now I'm going to take the little frame apart. And I'm going to paint the backing in the pink. Now I'm not going to worry about those 2 little screws that the stand is on because they'll be covered. So I'm going to add Mod Podge over the top once that dries. Now once the Mod Podge is dry, I'm going to put that piece back in the frame and just push down the little clips so that it's nice and secure. Now I'm going to take the larger Jenga block, put a little bit of glue towards the bottom of that inside, and add the smaller one just next to it. So it's like a man and a woman couple, so I figure the man's probably taller, and I'm going to add a little bead head to each one with some hot glue. This is going to be so cute. Then I'm going to take some twine, I'm going to attach it on the back with hot glue, and I'm going to do like an X back and forth, wrapping it around. I just want to give it kind of that cute little, almost rustic look, even though it's got the bolder colors on there. I just think this is so cute with the twine. Now that I've got that on there the way I like, I'm just going to cut it off and attach it to the back with a little bit of hot glue. I'm going to put some hot glue right in the center of that X, and I'm going to add the little red heart. Now I'm going to add hot glue to the twine and the back of each of the heads, because that's the part that sticks out the most. And I'm going to place it right in the center of the frame, and that covers up those little screws that hold the stand on. Now I'm going to take those little pink hearts that I painted, and I'm going to put one in each corner, kind of facing up towards the corner. And I think that is just such a cute little accent. I had these in my stash. They must have come with something else that I purchased, and I thought, I got to use them. They are so cute. And that's really it for this one. It was very easy. You could put names on it if you want, or you could just leave it as it is. But I just think it's so sweet and just how fun for Valentine's.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
Basswood that I picked up over at Hobby Lobby. And they're very thin. I'm going to use 3 sheets, and I wish they were a little bit wider, but they're not. And you can see just how thin it really is. So it's going to cut really easy with this laser cutter. So I'm going to lay them side by side, and then I'm going to try to figure out how I can get some trees. I'm going to use a lot of different shapes for this one. It's going to be very layered, and I'm just going to outline those trees. I want to, trace the outline of them. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the M1 laser cutter to cut them. This is what my screen looks like when I'm sitting here in front of it waiting. And there it is in the machine, all done. And it did cut on 3 different sheets. So when I lift the lid, you're going to notice that some of the pieces have fallen to the side. So I'll have to glue them back on. If I'd had one big solid sheet, of course, this would have just worked out perfectly, but I did not. So I just wanted to show you that you could make do with something. Also, that wood was 40% off. Hobby Lobby has these great sales. There are the pieces right there. I'm going to pick them up and I'm going to lay them on this palette piece that I got at Dollar Tree Plus. And here are the pieces left behind. And now I'm going to cut out all these different shapes. I've got trees, a deer, you name it. I've got an eagle. I'm going to use my mister. I'm going to use various colors of kind of brown and beige paint because I want to make this look very layered and very neutral. This is the Truffle by Waverly. I'm going to put it on with my mister to water it down, and then I'm going to wipe some of it off with the paper towel. And this is going to get attached right on top of this palette. And this is the beginning of the layers. Then I'm going to use the hazelnut color. I'm going to do the deer. Again, I watered it down and then wiped off the excess. I did another tree in that same color. And now I'm going to use the antique wax, and I'm going to do several of these trees, 3 of them. And I went for all different kind of winter tree shapes. This is a winter scene. Just think about things you've seen at craft shows or boutiques. And this is the kind of piece you see there. And they sell for a lot of money. I'm going to water this one down and use some black and wipe it off for the eagle. This is going to cost me barely anything to make at all because of the machine that I have. But yet I could make multiples of these and sell them for so much money. I'm going to use the cashew on this one, and you'll see when I put them all together how cool all the different colors look, and it creates this dimension. It makes it look like it's deeper into this forest than like just looking at one piece laying on top of a palette. So I'm going to use my hot glue, and of course you could use a more permanent type glue, but just for an example, I'm going to use this. And I'm going to add those little pieces that came off on the sides right back. I saved them to make sure that they would still be there. And see how I'm hot gluing them all together, and it creates one big piece. Now I'm going to start moving around these other pieces to see where I like them, and you'll see the different shades. And I'm going to make sure that there's a tree that covers each of those seams from the 3 pieces of the original wood. That way you will never know that it was 3 different pieces. I thought that was a really good way to make sure this would work. I find this very fun, relaxing, and creative, and I could have cut out 10 of each of those pieces, had 10 of those palettes, and made 10 of these to sell. I'm telling you right now, you could make back the cost of this machine so fast if you wanted to. And I have several friends who do craft shows, and these kind of things sell very well. You could make smaller things too. I'm going to show you a couple other options in this video just to let you know. Or you could use this to make gifts, so you wouldn't have to spend the money on the gifts. And then you'd have this particular machine for years to come, and you could keep making gifts with it or your own home decor and save money. So I continue to add on the different pieces, and you notice with the different colors, it does definitely give that appearance of it being deeper. It's almost like the sun's hitting them in different ways. And also trees aren't all the same color. So there's the deer. That's the last piece that I'm going to put on there with the hot glue. And I just love the layered look here. I just think it's adding so much dimension. I know I've probably said that like 10 times, but it's true. Look at that. It's all done. I absolutely love this one. Of course, I am keeping this one, but it gave me a great idea for something that I could create for someone else, or if I decided to sell things, which I haven't done so far, but like I said, I know a lot of people that do, and they are very successful at it. Can you imagine yourself doing this and making extra money? Got this cutting board set made by Family Chef. You can find this at Family Dollar or Dollar Tree. They're around, and this one was a double set. I can't believe I found a double set. That's pretty hard to find. So one's larger than the other of the cutting boards. And I wanted to show you the surface of this because it's glossy. It's got a finish on it. So you need to sand it off. I'll show you one where I didn't know to do that and you'll see the difference. So I did sand this one off and now I'm just going to go into the M1 machine and use the X-Tool Creative Space. And I'm just going to put some letters, and I found the cutest thing. It says snacksident. It's like a dictionary definition. It says eating a whole pizza or a bag of chips entirely by mistake. I don't know about you, but I have definitely done that before in my life, maybe more than once. Anyway, so once I get it on there and I set it all up according to the instructions, I have the machine engrave it. Look how beautiful this is. What an awesome thing. People love these cutting boards. Now here's the one that I did that I didn't sand, and that finish kind of melted. So if you take some rubbing alcohol and rub that very carefully on with a cloth, it will come off and that will be remedied. You can look how much came off on my cloth. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that you do need to sand it, but if you don't, you can fix it. So here's first the Bless the Food Before Us, the Family Beside Us, and the Love Between Us cutting board. And I love this one. I know a lot of people would like this. This would be a great seller at a craft show, or if you could go get into a store. And then here's the Snacksident one, which I think is adorable. And I also know people would love to have this one. So again, a couple other ideas of things you can make to sell using the M1 machine. What do you think? I've got this piece of 3mm basswood that came with my M1 when it was sent to me. And I didn't use the whole thing, so I decided to go ahead and use some more of it. So I'm going to take this shape. It looks like a house. I think it's a pentagon. And what I'm going to do is just unlock it and drag it down to make it a little bit longer. And then I'm going to shape it, turn it upside down. I'm going to add some little winter trees, like kind of pine tree shapes in them. And then I'm going to put 2 little holes on the top. And I'm going to make a pair of earrings. I've seen a lot of people make these and sell them. They're very popular. And this is another idea for something you could make and sell using this machine. The sky's the limit with the designs and the things you can do because of the engraving and the cutting. Oh my gosh, so many options. So I'm going to go ahead and select the parts that I want to engrave and then set that, and then select the parts that I want to cut and select that. And then once that's done, I will send it all to the machine and the machine will do its thing. It's almost like it does its magic. It's so fun to watch. Thank God they put that sunglasses type cover on it so you can watch it. Used to not be able to watch these things. So there it goes, and it's doing its thing, and then I'm going to show you, look at that. It's all done. I just lift it up and the pieces stay. And then I'll just push out the little circles where I'm going to put the earring holders. These so cute. I mean, these were done in no time. You could make a whole sheet of these and have a ton of them. I'm going to use this Butcher Block conditioner, and I got this off Amazon. It's in my Amazon store. And I'm going to do this with all the wood that I've been using. And I'm just going to rub some on there and make sure that it conditions the wood, and that kind of finishes it off. You don't have to seal it in this situation. And then I've got these earring holders that the kind for hanging that I ordered on Amazon. And I'm going to use a little bit of jute because I made my holes a little bit too low and I didn't realize that. So live and learn. But I'm going to go ahead and put the jute right through the wood and the earring. I'm going to tie a double knot. Now, once I have that tied, all I have to do is hot glue it and then trim off the edges. Now, if you had wire, like jewelry type wire, this would be very easy to do. You could just use that. I did not. This is my first time making earrings. So I just wanted to work with what I had. And I also think with this rustic look, it actually looked really cute with the jute. So there I am trimming that off, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. But look at that. Isn't that adorable? I tried these on. They looked so cute. Anyway, another option. Just think of the possibility.
Every change has
All decals or tiles are so cool. This one had 4 in this pack that you could use, or actually you got to cut it out if you want to make it 4. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I've got this cute little palette from Dollar Tree that has a hanger on it already. It's just like a mini one. And I'm literally going to paint the whole thing with my Sterling linen white chalk paint. I don't even need to paint the back, honestly, because it's going to hang on the wall. But I do paint the sides and those little pieces that you see underneath, because I do want to make sure that it just always looks white. But the back is the natural wood is a nice finish. And now I cut out that one piece, and I'm literally going to figure out the center, take off the backing, and just place it right on the center. I'm going to take some Mod Podge, and I'm going to cover the whole thing, and I use the matte Mod Podge. just going to dry it real quick with my heat tool from Amazon. I've got some little greenery pieces that came off a pick from the Dollar Tree. And then I got these beautiful roses. I believe those are probably from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to hot glue the little greenery pieces right to the bottom. I'm basically making a swag. I didn't tie these together because they're very light and I know the hot glue will hold them. So that's what I decided to do there. And once I get both of the pieces on there, I'm going to take just one of the rosebuds and one of the little leaf sets that comes with it, and I will hot glue the little leaf. You know, they come together, they're like attached. There's like two or three leaves on there. I'll hot glue that in the middle and then hot glue the little rose right to the center of that, and you'll see what I'm doing right here.
I've been thinking about you more than ever. I guess I'm lonely. I'm starting to grow old, and I thought my youth would last forever.
I think those leaves are really pretty. That's why I wanted to keep them on there. This is the darker green against that lighter green. And then I'm going to take my little clippers and I'm just going to cut off the little pointy part on the back of the rose. I'm going to add hot glue there so it doesn't come apart, and then make sure I have enough hot glue there also to attach it right in the center of those three larger leaves.
Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid, 'cause all we had was us. If I close my eyes and think about us, I can see the person I know.
That's it. So easy, and this might be my favorite today. You'll have to let me know what you think.
I don't have no time to waste. I'm trying to come back to you because now I see we were meant to be.
I found these puzzle pieces. I think I got them at Hobby Lobby when they had 40% off, and there's my wall decal. I painted the puzzle pieces white. And then I'm just going to take that tile and try to center it. I put the puzzle pieces together. I'm not going to do it that way, but just to get it on there kind of nice and even. So now I'm just going to take an X-Acto knife and go around and cut all the pieces out, which I did not show because it took a little bit. Okay, I've got these stickers from the Dollar Tree. I needed to know for the words I was going to use if I had enough letters, so I put a dot over each one, and I checked, and I do, so that worked out perfect. I put a dot on the plastic, so like it didn't get on there, obviously. I'm going to take them off, put them on the back of this little decal thing, and I'm just going to paint them all black because I want the letters to be black. I'm not really loving that green, but I like the letters. So I went ahead and painted them, and then I just took them off that little backing thing, and I just put them on my puzzle pieces. And this is like a reminder thing. It's going to be keys, phone, glasses, kiss. My husband's always walking out and then walking back in because he forgot something, and I do it too. So anyway, this is going to help us. So I've got this long black sign. It's really a fall sign. This is going to be a year-round type thing. So I just took a pencil after I placed the pieces to see how much I really needed, and I'm going to score it with a really nice blade that I got on Amazon, and it's going to go over it and over and over it. Go real slow the first time so I have one nice little line, and then you can go a little bit faster. It looks like my fingers are about to be cut off, but I promise you it really wasn't that close. Anyway, then you just bend it and it pops off. I'm just going to grab a little bit of sand, sponge, whatever, sanding paper, whatever you have, and I'm going to do the ends. And then I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile from Amazon because I took off the part that already had the holes so I could hang it. So this works so well. I do have arthritis, and so it's nice when I can use a tool that works so easily without me having to apply too much pressure. So I love that. I'm going to put the little hanger back in the new holes, and then I'm just going to position the puzzle pieces. Originally I thought of keeping them like connected, but it just didn't match perfectly. So I'm just going to put them on there because I think they're really cute, and I did decide to keep the background black. You could paint it any color you want. I love this one. I hot glued the pieces on, and really that's it. You could do anything you want on this. You could put pictures on the puzzle pieces, you know, like grandkid pictures, something cute like that. I thought this was so easy and fun. And it's funny, I'm getting a kiss every time my husband leaves now. So it's really working. So there's a little tip for you if you want to get an extra kiss. Anyway, I think it's so cute, and I hope you guys like it. Let me know if this is something you might want to try too. It was just as easy as could be.
Remember me, I remember you. I've been thinking about you more than ever. I guess I'm lonely.
Decals. This little plank from Dollar Tree actually has a little twine attached to it, and I don't even have to take it off this time because we're only going to paint on the front and the sides. I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I'm just going to paint over each of the planks and around the edges and those little inside pieces you see. I don't even need to do the back on this one. Then I'm going to go around each of those edges because it was a little splintery, and I'm going to use a nail file from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to get in there and fix that. Then I'll take my little sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree and I'll lightly sand the front so I can lay down the decal without any little paint bumps. I'm only going to use one of those flowers. So I'm going to lay down some Mod Podge over the front. And then I'm going to take the decal and I'm just going to place it right on top. And don't worry about those slats. We will deal with that in just a minute. I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and I'm going to go in between those slats and very slowly and very carefully I'm going to start cutting right at the edge. Sometimes you have to stab the little point just to get it started because if you push too hard, it might rip. So I just go super slow. See how it's lifting up? And then I push it back down and I just go really carefully. So I'm going to do them all on one edge first and then turn it around and do the second side where you can remove it. So I'm showing you here when I'm doing both sides and how easy that just comes right out. I'm going to do that with all of the slats. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go in with my nail file again, and I'm just going to lightly sand so I can get off any excess paper from that decal that was there. And I'll do that in every single one of the slats. This is turning out gorgeous. I love that look with the slats. I'm going to cover the whole thing in Mod Podge just to seal it, and also go over those edges in case there's any like little fibers from the decal that are sticking up. This may be my favorites, but I think this just turned out beautiful. I'm going to take some greenery that I have gotten from Amazon a while back, and it should be in my Amazon store. And I'm just going to cut little pieces and position them where the greenery on the decal is, kind of bring it to life and give it more of a 3D feel. I think by doing this, it really adds a lot to kind of otherwise flat crafts. I just think it just gives it just that extra oomph, and it's a little more high end. Let me know what you think, or if you've ever done it. It's really a nice, easy thing to do, and I just think it's, like I said, it just brings it to life. And I think this one is just beautiful. It matches with so many things in my home too. You'll have to let me know what you think about it. From the Dollar Tree, they're gorgeous. I've got these little pieces of wood that I had ordered on Amazon, and I'm just going to make 3. I'm going to use the Amy Howard at Home paint, and I think the color is called Bajas, and I'm just going to paint a coat of the white on the top of each one and around the edges. Don't need to do the back. And we're just going to make 3 coasters, and I just think that's enough. I have so many coasters in my house, I really don't need a whole bunch of them, but I thought this would be such a cute thing for like spring and summer. I love the butterflies. Once I've got them all painted, I'm going to just randomly pick each of the kinds of butterflies I have here and let them hang off the edge, be angled, whatever I think looks nice. If you're kind of a symmetrical person, you could put them on differently than I did. I like them kind of just wherever. I wanted to almost look like they're in flight, and that's why you don't see all of them. They're kind of off the edge. We will trim that after, but I'm just having fun placing them wherever I want. That's what I like about things like this. There's not a right way. It's just whatever you like. That's what creativity is all about. It's just going with the flow. Like, I'm deciding this as I'm making it, and that's part of the fun for me. If it's too planned out, sometimes I don't enjoy it. It depends on the project. Some of them you really do have to plan out, but this one you can just go kind of crazy and whimsy and have a great time. And I hope that you get to do that. I hope you don't feel pressured or like, you know, this needs to be so complicated or hard. Crafting can be fun. It just can be relaxing and fun. And I don't know about you guys, but I need relaxation. I do not do good with that. I don't chill out very well, and crafting helps me with that. Let me know if you have that same issue. So there they are, all 3 of them. I'm going to put them on my little cutting mat, turn them over, and I'm going to grab my little blade cutting thing from Amazon. I love this one because the handle is so easy to hold. Especially if you have arthritis or carpal tunnel or anything, it's really kind of like ergonomically comfortable. So I'm going to do that with all 3 of those until all of the edges are flush. There they are. I love the way this looks. I think the gold with the blue is gorgeous against the white. I'm going to then take them outside and I'm going to spray some clear acrylic on them and let that dry. I want them to be covered because we're going to put glasses on them, and if they sweat, I want them to be okay. So I put about 3 coats, and there they are. And then I've got these little felt, little baby rounds. I'm going to put 4 on each one so that they don't scratch any surface, and that's it. These came out so cute. This could not be easier. What a great gift idea, don't you think? I think this would be fun. And also then you could have coasters for all the different seasons and just for when you change your decor. And it was so inexpensive. You definitely have to let me know if you want to give this one a try. This Dollar Tree decal craft, I thought these were the cutest flowers. They're almost cartoon-like, and I thought they're really cute. And I've got this little mini cutting board from the Dollar Tree, and you guys know how much I love cutting boards. I think I'm starting to have too many. I don't know. I may have to cut back. I can't stop myself, though. I really like them. I sanded it all the way around. It was a little rough. And then I sprayed it with my mister. Got that on Amazon, too. And then I'm going to use the burnt umber apple barrel paint. And it looks like there's a lot, but I'm going to use all of that for the entire thing. I'm just going to get my brush, saturated with it and keep drawing from the front and going around the edges. And then I'll wipe off the excess. And actually, I did the back separately. I just realized that. And I will do that afterwards once this is dry. And then I'll just do the same thing. So here it is, all done. And it's so cute. It looks like stain, and it was paint, no smells, nothing. I'm going to put some Mod Podge over it before I add the little decals. These decals are so versatile. I have so many of them. If you guys like this, let me know because I could make many more videos using them. So I'm going to put this big flower and I'm going to let it hang over the edge, and then a couple of the little flower petals I'm just going to set right on there. Now these are kind of thicker decals, so they didn't want to lay down as flat, so you'll see I had to kind of get my brush underneath, make sure there was extra Mod Podge. I even took my finger and kind of pressed down to make sure that it would stick. Whatever it takes, we'll make it work. And then once I get this all over the top and part of the sides, I've got that edge hanging over, and I want it to be on there, so I'm going to fold it over and kind of make that crease a little sharper, putting the Mod Podge underneath and over. And then because it won't lay flat because it's like a curved little edge, I'm going to take scissors and I'm going to cut one little slit right where kind of like the corner of that cutting board is, and that way I can lay it down. And you'll see here, it takes a little bit and some pressing down, but eventually I get it to stay. I think the stickiness just isn't enough for this cutting board, so that's why I had to use so much Mod Podge. On the other ones, it didn't require quite so much. You see how I'm just pressing that in as hard as I can, and I'm just going to put a lot of Mod Podge over it. And I didn't want to use the spray for this one because I needed the brush to help press it down, and the spray wouldn't have been able to do that. So here we are finishing up with the Mod Podge, and now it's finally laying down. And I'm just going to wrap a little of that golden white twine around it. And I think it's so cute, and it's going to look great with my little cutting board display that I keep changing up and adding to. How many cutting boards do you guys have? I think at this point I have at least 15, maybe. I don't know. There's so many. It's kind of getting crazy. I actually got these 2 pieces from the Target dollar spot. They were $3 each, but they were just too cute to pass up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first use my heat tool from Amazon. You can find all my favorite supplies down in my description box. There's a link, and I'm going to remove the price tags on them. I just hate those labels. I'm going to use some E6000 and hot glue to take those little bottom legs of these pieces and attach them together. Now, that's not enough to keep them together, but it's good enough to hold them in place. I'm going to use my miter shears, also from Amazon. I'm going to take a little piece of scrap wood. It was like the end of a paint stir stick, and I'm just going to slice it right in half. This tool is amazing. I'm going to sand down all the edges, and then I'm going to use the E6000 and the hot glue again to put each piece on the back side of this whole thing over that seam, and now it's going to hold really, really well. I taped off all of the inner areas so that I could paint the whole outside back, inside portions, whatever, all with my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. And I love peeling off the tape. It's so awesome. If I have anything left over, I'll just take a little blade or scraper tool and scrape off the paint. And there it is, all painted. I'm going to take my burnt umber paint by Apple Barrel and I'm going to dry brush over the metal. And there you go, you can see it. I just put a little bit on my brush, wiped most of it off, and then dabbed it. I'm going to do the same thing with the black chalkboard paint all over it. I want to make this look more worn and antique. I'm going to take these little screws that I got at, I think, Home Depot. I'm just going to take a little nail to make some starter holes. I don't have a small drill bit like that, so I just twisted those in and they went right in perfectly. I added 4 of those on the bottom. Then I've got these little clips and I'm just going to hot glue an E6000 them right to the center top part of the metal pieces. That way you could hang something on it. This is just going to be a cute little functional piece that's also decorative to hang things. I've got this plant hanger. I just took one little piece from it. Comes apart very easily. And I'm going to take 2 little screws and I'm just going to screw them on to the back, like in the center of those metal pieces up on the wood. Super easy to do. And I didn't even have to really drill holes. I just started a little baby hole. And there it is, perfect hanger. And I found this little knob at Hobby Lobby. It was like 99 cents on clearance. And it has a hole in it and I don't want to put a screw in it because that's right where that seam is and it'll just break it apart, I'm sure. So I'm going to add a little piece of a skewer stick in there, and then I'm going to add some E6000 and hot glue. And I'm going to attach that right to the center. Now, I will not be hanging anything heavy on it. It's mostly for decor. I found this gutter guard roll. It was on sale for 99 cents at Lowe's, and it's great for like faux chicken wire. So I just cut a piece in that one open area in the middle. And I'm just going to use my staple gun and attach it. Look how cute that looks. I hope you guys like it. DIY is so easy. I've got this little corrugated piece of metal, it's a square, and this little wooden home sign from the Dollar Tree, and it's got a little red carnation. So I thought, let's make this patriotic. I'm going to take a little bit of my linen white Rust-Oleum chalk paint, and I'm going to dry brush it on the metal very lightly. So put some on my brush, dab most of it off, and then just drag it across. And there it is. You could do more or less. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the gray H, M, and E of the sign. And I'm going to do the inside and the edges as well. Very, very light dry brush. I actually ended up doing a little bit more than light, but I like the way it looks. Now I'm going to pull that flower off. You could use a heat tool if it's sticking really well, but it's just glued in there. Kind of straighten up that little hole so I can put it back. And I'm going to take my ocean colored Waverly chalk paint and I'm going to do a couple coats and I'm going to do just the O on this little sign. I thought that turns it into kind of a red, white, and blue piece, even though there's gray on it, but there's also gray on the metal piece. I think that just goes really nicely together. Just using an angled art brush to get into all those places so I don't make a mess, and I'm going really slow so that I don't hit any other parts of this. I'm going to dry it off with my heat tool, and then I'm going to cover the entire home's little block with some Mod Podge just to seal it in. Now once that's done, I'm going to take the little flower, put some hot glue on the back, and you see it's got a stem there. It'll fit right in that hole, and literally that puts that sign back together, and now it's got that patriotic look that I love, and it's still pretty any time of year, I think. We're just going to hot glue it on the corrugated parts that face upward because there's no point in putting it on the other ones because it won't touch the back of the sign. I kind of looked at it to see where it would touch, and I added that, and that's it. Glued it right on there. You could use E6000 with this just to make sure it'll stay. I'm not too worried about it, but it's definitely an option, and we'll definitely hold it there. I love how it turned out. You'll have to let me know what you think. You know how much I love cutting boards. I've got this metal truck from the Dollar Tree from the Crafter's Square section and this cute cutting board from the Target Dollar Spot. And I'm going to use the side that doesn't have those little flowers on it. I used a 150 grit sandpaper just to sand all around the entire thing. I've got this Butcher Block conditioner from Amazon. I learned about this stuff from my friend Courtney at Creative on the Cheap, and what it does is it has a mineral in it that exceeds the requirements for using with food items, so you can condition your wood with this, and then it's food safe. Courtney is full of helpful tips, so I'll link her channel down below in case you're interested. So I'm going to cover every part of it. Then I'm going to go back to the metal truck, and I'm going to take out the twine at the top. I'm going to take some masking tape. I'm out of painter's tape, but honestly, masking tape works well. And I'm just going to make a little square in the middle of the back side of my truck. I don't want those lines that were on the front. And I'm going to take kind of like a stiff stippling brush with my Ocean Blue Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to start stippling a square in the upper corner of this square. And then I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum Linen White chalk paint, and I'm going to stipple all the rest of that square with the white. Then I'm going to take my lacquer paint from Waverly, and I'm going to take a smaller brush, and I'm going to stipple stripes. So basically, it's going to look like a square version of our flag. But it's so easy because you don't have to be very exact because you're stippling. And the tape will give you nice, clean edges. So once I have that on there the way that I like, then I'm going to take the other end of a small paintbrush in the white paint, and I'm just going to start putting some little dots, and I'll dry it with my heat tool. I'm not going to go for perfection on the stars. There's not 50. I'll cover the whole thing with my Mod Podge once it dries, and then I will remove the tape. And I know, it's so satisfying. Don't you love it? And I've got this just cute little flag in the middle of my truck. You can still see it's a truck, but I didn't want to get all hung up on that. I just want it to look like a truck with a flag on the back. Now I'm going to position it on the back side of that cutting board. Once I have it where I want, and I'm going to put hot glue all along the back. Now I did this on purpose. That way if I wanted to remove it, I could and change it out for something else. And so now we're just going to take that truck, turn it around and center it again, and put it flat on the cutting board. So easy. And I've got those holes in the upper right hand corner. So I found some really pretty silvery glittery type stars in my stash. I took 4 of them and I put 4 on. I hot glued them on. And that took care of that. And I think it goes with that 4th of July, patriotic theme. And this was so quick and easy. You could put this together on the back of any cutting board you have. And you could do it with any piece of metal. I just used the truck because I had one. I tied the twine at the top, and that's it. How cute and easy, and a nice addition to my cutting board collection. Let me know what you think of this idea. Transfers are so pretty. I didn't end up using the flower one, just the butterflies on this. And this cute little relax word was from the Dollar Tree as well. So what I'm going to do is start cutting out, kind of fussy cutting the butterflies, and just to make them fit. I ended up deciding that I'm going to put them on every other letter. So the R, the L, and the X. And I thought that was just enough, and it really, really looks so cute. So first I cut out the piece, put the parchment paper over. It actually came with that piece. And then I used my little iron mini press that I had. You can use a regular iron, I put it on pretty high, and I did it for like 40 seconds, but it really wouldn't stick. So what I had to do is use a scraper stick as if it was a rub-on transfer, and then look, it worked great. For some reason it just didn't work with just the iron, and I don't know why, but I figured out a way to make it work, so I'm very excited. And I'm just going to kind of pull off those little ends and kind of scrape them off with my fingernail. Super easy. And then I'm going to start fussy cutting some more just to fill in the gaps. And like I said, I will end up putting this on the first, middle, and last letter, doing the same process, ironing first and then scraping it on and then removing the top layer. And it just worked so well, and it's starting to look so cute. There it is with all 3 letters done. I really love this. I'm going to take this little foam ball that I got from the Dollar Tree and just cut it into very small pieces because I don't want the foam to show from the front. So I'm just going to put it on 3 spots where it looks like it will kind of be one in the center and then one on either side, because I'm going to take some greenery and stick it in from behind so it's sort of surrounding the back of the word. I'm going to hot glue those little teeny pieces of foam right on there. My glue gun was sticking a little bit, and I'm just going to get the other ones on there as well. This is a really easy DIY, super fast, and it turns out so cute at the end. I think you're going to really like it.
Gonna stay in this moment, gonna lay here on the grass.
Now that that I've got all three of my little pieces of foam on there, I'm just going to use my nippers and just cut some little pieces of this faux greenery that I got on Amazon, which you can find in my Amazon store, and the link is always in my description box. And I'm just going to put them on there till it looks the way I like. You could add anything you want.
I don't need to feel lonely.
I love this one. It's actually my favorite from this video. Let me know what you think. I think it's so easy. This super cute iron-on transfer from the Dollar Tree, and the instructions are always on the back, by the way, but they are telling you to use fabric, so I figured it out using other surfaces when I needed to. And then I've got these 3 ribbons. They're all from the Dollar Tree and they match the colors, and this cute little house that I got at the Target dollar spot for $3. It's really cute with the little slats of wood. So I'm going to put my transfer where I want it, use the little iron, and go ahead and just do it for like 40 seconds all over, take it off. And then I'm going to cover the whole thing with Mod Podge because I just want to seal it. And I'm only doing that white part of the house. I have this cute jute ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It has a lace look to it. I'm going to cut 2 pieces that fit the size of the roof line of the house. And I'm just going to use some Beacon Fabric Tack glue to attach it right to the top. If you are enjoying this video, I would love it if you could hit the like button. Not only does it tell me that you like this kind of content, but it also lets YouTube know to show my video to other people, and that would be awesome. So thank you. Now that I've got the roof line on there, I'm going to take the 2 ribbons. One was kind of a sheer pink and one was like a green. I'm going to make a little awareness ribbon and then bring down the top to the center. And I'm going to tie in the middle with this twine. I thought that looked really cute on there. And I'm just going to tie a knot.
Gonna stay in this moment. Gonna lay here on it.
I'm going to take another little piece of that jute ribbon and I'm just going to cover the center with it. I thought that would look really pretty and tie it all together. I'm going to dovetail the ends of my ribbon and then cut off those pieces of twine that were left behind. I hadn't done that yet. I'm going to take some hot glue and put it right at the top of the house. So you could stop right here. Honestly, you could even not put a bow if you don't want to. You could stop at any point, whatever suits your decor and your desire. I'm going to add some of the greenery that I have on hand, just little pieces, and I'm just going to put 2 on each side. I thought that would be really pretty. Now, you guys know me. Sometimes I just need to stop, and other times I keep going anyway. I did do one more thing. You certainly don't have to do this if it's too much for you, but I added 2 more of those little pieces of greenery, tied them together with this twine, and then I'm just going to hot glue it to the center of the very bottom of the house.
I don't need to feel lonely. I am finally home at last.
And then I add a little pink rose, and I really love how it turned out. I hope you guys like it too. Transfer. It looks kind of like leopard spots or cheetah spots, not sure. And then Dollar Tree had this little teeny mini cutting board. I was so excited when I found it. I love working with cutting boards. I think you already know that. And then there's some agave chalk paint from Waverly. I'm going to sand down that whole cutting board, every part of it. It was a little rough, actually. I'm going to take a piece of masking tape. You could use painter's tape, whatever you want. And I'm just going to put it diagonally across from one edge to the other. And I'm going to use the paint just on that one side. I'm going to paint downward from the tape. That way it won't bleed. And I'm going to do the edges that are there too. And then look, removing the tape, it came out perfectly. I'll dry it with my heat tool from Amazon. I put the paper on top and the parchment paper and taped it down. And of course, you know, it didn't work again with the heat. It got it partially on there, but I have to use that little stick to rub it on. So it's funny, they're called iron-on transfers, these gold ones, but they're kind of like rub-on transfers. The other ones I used that weren't gold went on perfectly. You didn't have to do any like rubbing with the stick. But that's okay. It didn't take too long. I just went around, and once I realized it was working, I kept checking. Then I went ahead and I literally just pulled that off carefully. And look, it went on there. So cute. I think this is adorable. And I have such a collection of cutting boards. This will be a nice addition. Just kind of something whimsy and fun. And then I just pulled off those edges that were hanging over. I wasn't trying to have it on the sides, just on the front. And I also left the back of this one blank in case I want to make a two-sided one in the future. I'm going to go ahead and use my matte Mod Podge. I'm going to cover the whole thing, front, sides, and the back. That way it's just nice and sealed. I will only use this for decor though. Hey, I hope you guys will come visit me on social media. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and TikTok. All the links are in the description box below. I am just going to add some tacky glue and put that white and gold twine. I'm going to wrap it around, kind of crisscross several times, and then I'll glue it on the back to end it and cut off the edge. I just thought it needed something around the handle. And that gold matches the little like cheetah spot.
Gonna stay in this moment. Gonna lay here on the grass.
Once I get that glued down, I am going to make a little teeny shoestring bow out of that same twine and just hot glue it right to the center of where I tied the crisscross twine on the top. And that's it. Super easy, and I think it just came out adorable. Let me know what you think. I've got this beautiful picture that I designed in Canva and then I printed with my sublimation printer. And then I've got 7, is that 7, 8? I guess I started with 8, and then I'm going to add 2 more pieces of paint stir sticks. I know you guys have been wanting to see some DIYs with paint stir sticks. So I'm just going to cut off the curvy end on 2 of them after I've laid all of them next to each other. And I'm going to glue this to the back to hold them all together. It's just a really easy way instead of gluing in between every single one. And now I'm just going to cut another one the exact same size. And I use my miter shears to cut those. And you'll always find anything I mentioned that's a good tool that I love in my Amazon store if that's where I got it. So now I'm just going to put this face down, and I'm using sublimation paper too. So you got to put it on the coated side. You lay it on top of the wood, put a piece of parchment paper over it, and then I'm going by the specifications of the sublimation paper. It said to put, somewhere between 400 degrees and 40 seconds. And then I've got my little partner over here, Bella, sitting in her bed watching me and not eating her food, of course, but she likes to be there right next to me. Off camera, I removed the paper from the top. So I put a few more supports on the back with those extra pieces I cut off. And I've got this beautiful kind of mauve colored ribbon. It's almost like velvet on top. I cut 2 pieces, and I'm going to put one across the bottom and one across above the bird. And that's just going to be kind of a nice little border. And I'll just put some hot glue underneath it and then around the back. And I'm going to do that same thing with the other piece that I cut. And you'll see that right there. Then I'm going to take my ballet slipper Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to water down my brush, and I'm going to very lightly dry brush, barely even dry brush, over all of the wood pieces. I thought of doing this after the fact. That's why the ribbon was already there. But, sometimes things evolve as you're being creative. It's like a pink wash. And then I've got these pics from Walmart, and I just cut off little pieces, and whatever I did to one side, I did to the other. It's almost like a mini swag. I just didn't tie them together. I just hot glued them. And then there's some pieces that have these little berries on them, and I'm going to put those in the middle. Using my heat press to put that sublimated design on the wood is just such a beautiful way to decorate, plain stir sticks. I can't believe how easy it was to do. And I did put a piece of twine on the back with some masking tape like I always do to hold the hanger. And I think that does a really good job of that. But I still kind of felt like it needed something else. So I added a gorgeous pink flower, and I believe that came from the Dollar Tree. And I just cut that off, put some glue on it, and put it right in the center. And I think that just really finishes this one off. I love this one. Let me know what you think. Sublimated design. It's mirrored. You always have to mirror things when you either use heat transfer vinyl or sublimation because it's in reverse. And it says One Nation Under God. And then I got this huge amount of fabric at a thrift store for $2. It's almost looks like a drop cloth, but it's not. And I'm going to use 2 of these larger paint stir sticks. I had already cut off the curvy ends on these for something else. So I'm just going to measure how wide I need them to be. And then I'm going to take my little miter box. I'm going to clamp down the stir stick because otherwise it's really hard to hold this still. And then I'm just going to take the saw, and I'd already drawn the line. I'm just going to saw that piece right where I need it. And I'll do that with both of them. And I'll use the first one to measure the second one. That way it'll be, very accurate. I'm going to sand down the edges where I cut. And then I'm going to cut out a piece of the fabric by ripping it. I'll start with a cut and then rip. And I measured how big it needed to be based on the design and the stir sticks. You could make this any size you want based on, your design and then the size of the wood that you're going to use. And I love that ripped frayed look. So that's why I chose to do that. It gives it a little bit more of a rustic feel. And there it is. And now I'm going to just go ahead and heat it up a little bit in the heat press. You should always do that with your material that's fabric first. And then I'll take it out and I will lay my design face down on it. And that's why it was mirrored, so it'll come out the right way when you sublimate it. Now, sublimation isn't like heat transfer vinyl. It actually gets into the fibers of the fabric or the wood or whatever it is. I'm going to lay down my parchment paper, go with the recommended settings for sublimation, and as soon as it's done, it will stop, and then the top will lift up. You can pull it out. Of course, it's very hot. You have to be very careful. And then I just pulled that piece of paper off, and there it is. Look how beautiful that came out. So now I'm going to attach the stir sticks with some Beacon fabric tack glue. This isn't heavy, so I figured that would be sufficient enough. And then I'm going to take my ocean colored Waverly chalk paint and I'm going to get the wood wet with my mister, and I'm going to kind of do a very light watery coat on both of the pieces of wood all around the edges, and that way I'll have just a really pretty nice blue kind of patriotic feel to this one. I'll dry that with my heat tool so it'll go faster. And then I'm just going to add a piece of twine and masking tape to the back to make a hanger like I always do. I'm going to take some white chalk paint and I'm just going to lightly paint in the stars with a art brush, and it turned out gorgeous. Let me know what you think. Windmill signs, and then I don't never use them. So I came up with an idea finally. So this is another Dollar Tree metal hack. And then I've got these 2 long coastal signs that have the seahorse at the top. I'm going to end up cutting that part off, but I want it to look like wood planks. So what I'm going to do is hold my 2 signs together, position the windmill where I think I would like it, and then I'm going to use my square to cut a straight line so I know where I'm going to break them in half. Now, I'm using this awesome handheld box cutter from Amazon. I love it. It's got a great grip. And I probably went over it 4 or 5 times, and then you're able to just bend it and it just snaps right off. Look at that. Talk about easy. So I did that to both of them, cleaned up the edges, and now I'm going to use some hot glue temporarily just to put them together while I secure them. So you can see that's just holding them temporarily. That would not be anywhere near enough. So I've got popsicle stick or craft stick scraps, and I'm just going to use those to reinforce the back.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the
I'm going to take some jute and I'm just going to hot glue it to the back and make a hanger. And of course, I always use masking tape and then hot glue to secure it. This was kind of a long one, so I did 2 pieces, and that will keep that very, very secure.
startled our eyes, we let go.
I'm going to take my white Rust-Oleum, linen white chalk paint, and I'm going to kind of dry brush and make this look a little bit distressed. And then I'm going to use my burnt umber. I'm going to mist over the top to make it wet. And then I will take that burnt umber and just kind of blend it in to give the wood a little more texture. I really wasn't too fond of the original color. There's nothing wrong with it, but I kind of like this better. And now I'm just going to position the welcome windmill on the top, put some hot glue, and that's going to go under the welcome part, and then right under the center of the windmill I will add a whole bunch of hot glue and make sure it's nice and secure.
Of disguise. And now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer
I've got this ivy from IKEA. I've used it before, and I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces. I'm going to make it look like there was like an ivy vine just kind of hanging over the sign. So I put some on the left side that just goes up that whole side and a little bit over it. And then I'm going to take another piece and kind of drape it down on the right side so it hangs low, and that way it looks a little more like a natural vine growing. I love it. Let me know what you think.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain. Beauty and
Ordered the Target dollar spot along with these little stickers. They look like tiles, and it came 2 in the pack for $5 with the cutting board. I'm just going to take off one of the little stickers, and you know, at first I thought they were white, but that's just the background. So whatever you put it on, it will show the background, and that looked really cute. So I just put the one on. I used my brayer to make sure it was nice and flattened out. And then I'm just going to take a nail file from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go around the edges and make sure I get rid of any excess going in a downward motion. I've got a stencil. Now, it's not adhesive. I do not have the best, I guess, luck with stencils that aren't adhesive. I taped it down. I did a dabbing motion. And I got to tell you, I don't know why, but I just can't seem to do a stencil like this. It's like a reusable stencil that isn't adhesive, but I can't do it without bleeding. I don't know. I've tried everything, but I actually did fix it, so I guess it's okay. But anyway, I'm going ahead and I'm just dabbing like you're supposed to and expecting really good results. And look, not so good. I probably should have done Mod Podge first, but I don't know, I just didn't. So I sanded a bunch of that excess away, and then I'm going to take a fine art brush and I'm going to go in and fix where I maybe got rid of too much. It went on, and I even used a little Dremel tool at one point to get between and around the letters. So I roughed up the little cutting board, which was kind of cute because it made it look a little bit rustic, which I'm okay with. Anyway, so that's done. And then I'm going to get this cute ribbon that I ordered on Amazon. It's just like a ticking stripe. I'm going to cut a little piece, hot glue it to the back and around, and it'll just be an extra little like decor around the neck of the cutting board.
Remember me, I remember you. I've been thinking about you more than ever. I guess I'm lonely. I'm starting.
Now I've got this really pretty, I think it's pretty, nautical twine from the Dollar Tree. It's like mixed with white and regular twine color. And I'm just going to tie it around that neck and make a little knot in the front, and then I'll just trim the ends. And I just thought it was kind of cute hanging there. I didn't want to go too crazy with this one. Maybe I already did. I don't know.
To grow old, and I thought my youth would last forever. Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid, 'cause all we had was us.
And then I continue to sand a little more, just trying to get rid of any of the part where it's smudged a little. And I will cover the whole thing with Mod Podge. And that's it. I really like this one. You'll have to let me know what you think. This is a cutting board from IKEA, and these are rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree. Now, I cut out a few of the words that said spring and one that said tiptoe through the tulips. I guess I just didn't particularly like that one. And what I did was I left everything else on there that I really liked, and I kind of positioned to see if it would fit on the cutting board. And then I laid it exactly where I wanted it. And then I took my little scraper tool and I had to go over every single part. So this was a little time consuming, but oh my gosh, you guys, this is so worth it. This looks so high end and expensive when it's done, and it's gorgeous.
Starting to grow old, and I thought my youth would last forever.
And I took the S from the word spring that I cut off so that I could have it say S for our last name. Took some polyacrylic one coat by Minwax, did a couple coats on the top, and that's it. That is all it took, and this looks so gorgeous and so expensive. And that cutting board was less than $10, and the transfer was $1.25. I absolutely love this one. What do you think? because I like two-sided things, I'm going to turn that IKEA cutting board over, and we're going to do something different to the back. And so one you can use, during the nice months of the year, and one will be just for the summertime only. I've got these cute little ice cream cone napkins. There were 16 and they were all 2-ply. And then the best way to get rid of the plies is to somewhere on the back, put a little piece of tape, and then it will just kind of pull apart gently. Actually, much easier than if you don't use a piece of tape. I'm going to lay down some Mod Podge on the surface where I'm going to put that napkin. And then I'm just going to try to center it the best I can. And I'm going to lay that napkin down very gently with my fingers. And once I have it in place, I'm going to get out my brayer. Because it's not wet on the top, I can roll the brayer across. Then I'm going to lay down some Mod Podge on the top, and it's being very careful to mind the ends and make sure that they lay down. I did actually get it a little too wet at the top on the right, and I have to do a little repair, which is kind of cool because I can at least show you how I did it. Just cut off a piece of a napkin, and I'm just going to lay it right over it and put some Mod Podge on it, and it fixes where it kind of smudged up a little bit.
Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid.
I'm going to use some Dollar Tree twine, and I'm just going to line the little diagonal lines on the cone, kind of bring it to 3-dimensional. I love doing that. So just very carefully, I'm going to glue down little pieces of the twine and cut them off when I reach the end. And I'll go back and forth so they almost look like they're interwoven. You'll see here in just a second.
Stupid, 'cause all we had was us. If I close my eyes and think about us.
There you go. And I love that look. And then I've got this really cute kind of, I don't know, I guess you would call it like an ombre yarn. It's very thin. I believe I got it from Walmart. And I'm just going to line the outside of the ice cream. And that also brings that to life. And I really love it. I think it came out super, super cute. Then I've got some ribbon from the Dollar Tree. There's some rickrack ribbon and then like a plaid. So I'm going to use 2 pieces of the plaid, 2 of each the pink and the blue rickrack. I'm going to make a messy bow where you just crisscross them. And I put a little piece of that very fine pink yarn underneath it. I'm just going to tie off a knot and then wrap it around to give it a little bit of a center. And then I'll knot it again, and I'm going to put a dab of hot glue on it and set it right on the neck of the cutting board. And that's it.
I can see the person I know I should be.
What a cute little summer cutting board, and it's 2-sided, which I love. Do you like to do 2-sided things? You'll have to let me know if that's one of your kind of favorite things to do, like mine. Another really cute set of rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree, and I've got a wood slice from Hobby Lobby, and then this cute little metal house on wood also from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to use the one in the bottom left corner that says they built a life they loved, and I think that was really cute. I'm going to take my little glue jar and just trace a circle around it because I need this to be a circle instead of a square, and then I'm just going to cut it out. I'm going to put the wood slice right on the house and the little transfer in the center, but I am going to use Mod Podge on the wood because it's a very rough surface. That would be hard to get that transfer on there. So I'm actually going to do 2 very heavy coats of Mod Podge on the wood slice. While it's drying, I removed the sticker on the bottom, sanded the wood on the house, and now I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I'm just going to paint all the wood. Now that the Mod Podge has dried, I'm going to remove the backing from my transfer very carefully, and I'm going to set it down right in the middle. When you're using rub-on transfers, be careful not to touch the back of it because it will actually come off on your finger. It's funny, sometimes they're hard to get onto a surface, but they'll come right off on your finger. So I scraped that one on, and I'm just going to kind of burnish it with my finger. And I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the top to protect it so that it doesn't rub off at any point. I'm going to dry it with my heat tool because, I'm impatient. Now I'm going to put some hot glue all the way around my slice of wood. And then I'm going to set it over where the hole is on the house.
I guess I'm lonely. I'm starting to grow old, and I thought my youth would last forever.
And then on the back, I'm going to reinforce. It's clear anyway, so I figure why not? I'll just go ahead and reinforce all of the edges because they didn't all hit exactly where I wanted them to, on the back side. Then I'll wipe away any of the excess glue. And I thought it just needed one more thing, so I took a little piece of twine that was left over from another sign, and I just made a really simple shoestring bow.
Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid.
And then I'm just going to make sure it's the size I want, and then I'll cut off the excess on the bottom. Now, I couldn't decide if I wanted it on the wood slice or on the top of the house. I went back and forth a few times, and I landed on the wood slice, and I'm really happy I did now. It came out really cute. Just put a little dab of hot glue there, set it right on there, and this one is done. You'll have to let me know what you think. I thought it was so easy. Jar, some faux leather from burlapfabric.com that they were so kind to send me, and I'll put all the information in my description box. Some florals that I got from Dollar Tree and Target, and then I've got those pop-up stickers you can see in the background too. Right now I'm going to use my square, and I'm going to cut a strip of the faux leather. I'd already cut out a piece to begin with, but now I'm just going to cut one that's just about the right width for what I'd like to see on my mason jar. And I'm going to cut that out after I've drawn the line on the back side, so you'll never see it again. And I do a lot of trimming to get this just right. I don't put it all on camera because, who wants to watch me trim? Now I'm going to take out these little pop-up stickers. I love these things because with my metallic silver paint from Folklore, you can actually make them look like little rivets. Now I'm going to paint them with my plaster colored chalk paint first because that'll make it easier for the silver to stick. And I don't know why I only painted 2 to begin with. I actually need 4 of these, so I do go back and paint 2 more. I don't know what I was thinking. And then I've got these 2 little boards that I got out of a little shelf from the Target dollar spot, and I used the shelf for something else, and I just kept those 2 little shelf pieces, and I decided that they would be great for this project. So what I'm going to do is put them together with some hot glue, and then it'll look like planks that way. And it was already painted white, and it's already a little distressed, so I don't actually have to do anything else to that, which was really, really nice. Because, hey, when you get that and you use it as extra pieces from a different DIY, it's like bonus and it's almost like free. Now I'm going to take my little mason jar and I'm going to put a boatload of hot glue on there. And I'm just going to stick it right on the planks. And it actually stays really well, but I'm going to also use my faux leather, and I'm going to glue that down on either side, and then I'm going to cut off the edges so it looks like it's just kind of wrapped around it, and it's just one more little form of security. I'm going to tuck a little hot glue under little parts of the faux leather too to just kind of stick it to the jar as well, and you can see me doing that right here. And I'm already loving the way this is looking. It's very fresh, and with the white, I just really like it. I like some of the darker distress stuff too, but sometimes it's just nice to see something a little brighter. Now I'm going to trim the edges and then tack them down with some more hot glue. Now I'm going to take those little pop-up stickers that I painted, and I'm going to put 2 on each side towards the corners of the faux leather, so it looks like little tacks or rivets holding down the faux leather. Just kind of brings that look up a little higher and makes it look a little more finished and expensive, and I love the way that looks. After trimming the faux leather, I had another piece left, and I decided to trim that even narrower and make a faux hanger. We're into faux here today. I don't think it's going to be strong enough to hold this up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it real thin. I'm going to attach it to each sides and then up and over the top, and then I'll make another little rivet on each side, and that'll be like a faux hanger. On the back, I'll actually put a little bit of jute twine for a real hanger and secure that with tons of hot glue and some masking tape across it as well. And I just think this will give it such a cute look, but at the same time, I'll have a practical way to hang it without, breaking anything. And I'm going to actually use 2 of the smaller pop-up stickers to make the little rivets or tacks for the side there for that top faux hanger. It'll just look like it's attached then by something a little bit more sturdy. And then I'm going to take the greenery that I got and I'm going to trim it down to size. And I'm actually going to position it and use some hot glue to attach it to the inside of the mason jar. That way I can get it exactly where I want it. I'm not looking to like fill the whole thing up. I actually want it to kind of lean up against those little planks. I think that's going to look really cute. And then I'm going to add the little, I think those are tulips. I'm not sure. They look like mini tulips. I don't know what they are. Anyway, it's so pretty. And I'm just going to do the same thing there. And I'm also going to tack down the leaves a little bit so they lay the way I want them to look. And instead of kind of bunched together, I like it to look a little more spread out. I can just add a drop of hot glue. You won't even see it. And that way it'll just look really, really nice. Now, if you decide to make this, you could use any florals that you want that fit your decor. You could change them out for different seasons. Rainbow at the Dollar Tree. It must be a new item because I'd never seen it before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting it with different shades of kind of like a turquoise-ish color. So I'm starting with peacock and I'm going to do that first indent and then the edges going up to the risen part. Then I'm going to take some agave and I'm going to do the next indented part and the edges between the 2 raised parts for that one. Then I'm going to take the color Pool, these are all Waverly chalk paints, and I'm going to do the next indent and just do the exact same thing that I have already done and finish up all the edges on that as well. Then I'm going to take the color Crystal, which is lighter, and I'm going to do the very last indented part. So as you can see, it's kind of like an ombre turquoise type of thing. And then I'm going to use Warm Buff from Apple Barrel Paints, and I'm going to do all that raised part of the rainbow on the front. Then I'm going to use my Antique Wax by Waverly and I am going to stain all of the rest of the raw wood, which is the very bottom, the inside of the rainbow, and then the back. And I'm wiping off the excess. I just want the contrast of the stained wood, the warm buff, and then the pretty colors that are making my ombre rainbow. And I'm loving this. It's kind of a cross between farmhouse and boho. So that's, I think, a style that I really like, and I'm kind of realizing that more and more as I make things. Now, I do get a little bit of my antique wax on the front, so I'm just going to take some of the paint and I'm going to go back and touch up those spots where I went over it. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this is very hard to do without going over the lines, because taping this would be really a pain. So I thought it would just be easier to go over and do the touch-ups afterwards. And actually, I don't think I did too bad. I feel like it should have been worse. Like I should have had way more paint everywhere. Anyway, but this worked out great. I touched it up and it looks so, so cute. And I'm absolutely loving this piece. You'll have to tell me what you think down in the comments. It was so easy, you guys. There's just no reason that anyone couldn't do this with any colors that go with your decor. I am in love with this gift bag, no pun intended. It is so pretty, and this is going to be the easiest DIY. I've got this $5 breakfast in bed tray from the Target Dollar Spot. I bought it a while back, and I just wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And then I saw this gift bag, and I knew what I was going to do with it. This is incredibly easy. I'm literally going to cut off the front side of the bag, and of course I removed the handles and that kind of stuff. And once I get it cut out, I am going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to go around and fussy cut out the design. This is actually the only part that really takes much time. And you know what? Put on a video or some good music, whatever, and just kind of go to town and just be real careful, go slow. And I'll just get everything that I don't want in this project to just be cut right out. And it's actually a very easy thing to do. Just have a cutting mat underneath you when you do it. And there it is, all cut out, the magic of editing. So I'm just going to place it on top of the breakfast in bed tray and see how it's going to look. And I'm going to use my Jot glue stick from the Dollar Tree. I only wish I had the one that was purple. I think that would be Elmer's because it's easier to see where you've already put the glue. And when you have a bigger piece like this, it's hard. You have to kind of hold it up to the light to try to see it. So anyway, I think I'm going to, once I run out of these glue sticks, I'm going to get the purple ones. Now I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut in each of those slats, or the seams of the slats, whatever you want to call it, and just kind of dig out the pieces of the gift bag so that you can see them. And that way it just looks more planked. And again, it took a little bit, but you just go slow. Make sure your glue is dry. I'm going to take some white Waverly wax. First, I'm going to go in on those plank seams. And then I'll lightly brush over the entire thing. Just kind of makes it look like it's all one design, if you will. We're almost done. That's how easy this is. I'm going to add some Mod Podge on top, and I love it. Let me know what you think. Gift bag is gorgeous. It says to have and to hold, and I love the farmhouse look. So I've got this huge wood round from Home Depot. I think it was about $7 or $8. It's very thick and heavy, but this is going to be a really substantial sign, and I cannot wait to put it up in my house. Just have to find the wall space. I'm having a little issue with that. There's no wall space. Anyway, I'm going to cut out the front of this gift bag, and I can't tell you how beautiful this is, and it looks so high-end when it's all done. I'm going to figure out exactly how much of it I want to use and get rid of the part with the little holes where the handle was. And then I'm going to kind of measure to find exactly the placement where I want to put it. And I'm going to grab some masking tape. I'm going to tape off part of the top and a part of the bottom because I want to use my white Waverly wax and just do those two outside parts and around the edges in that color because a lot of the stuff in my house is kind of off-white. So I thought this would be a really nice way to make it coordinate. And with the Waverly white wax, you can do it just like you do the regular antique wax. And that is you put it on, you can either leave it or you can wipe off the excess. I chose to wipe off the excess so it kind of give it more of a whitewash type of a look, but it's really pretty. You can still see the wood grain through it, so I really like that. And now that it's all done, you can see here where the difference is. So the middle is the natural wood, and then you see the two ends. Then I'm going to take my sign, if you will, my gift bag, and I'm going to place it, and then I'm going to do some more glue stick and just get that on there. Again, wish I had the purple one for this, but then it gets on there one way or another. I just would have liked to be able to see it. And then I'm just going to use my brayer and put it down, and gosh, this is gorgeous. I am in love with this. How easy is this? Seriously. And look how high-end it's looking. Once I get it on, I'm going to take a sanding sponge and I'm just going to go around the sides and get rid of the excess. Now, I did use the X-Acto knife to get the big pieces off, but I want a nice clean edge. So when I'm done, it's perfect. I love the way it looks. I'm going to put 2 heavy-duty screws on the back and some wire for a hanger, and that part is done now. The only other thing I'm going to do is I've got a magnolia wreath from Five Below. It was like $5.55, and I'm going to place that around it, and when I hang it up, that's how I'll do it. And I think this turned out gorgeous. It looks so expensive. And it was a gift bag from the Dollar Tree. I mean, seriously, I cannot get over this one. It's one of my favorites for sure in this video. Let me know if it's yours. They're kind of 3D, and some of them have words and some look like wreaths, and I've got this little hinged house with a plaque next to it. I'm going to take my screwdriver and I'm going to take the hinges off, and then I'm going to turn it over because I'm actually going to use the back. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my Rust-Oleum Linen White chalk paint. I took about 2-3 coats on both pieces, and then I'm going to sand down very lightly just to have a nice smooth surface. On the house, I'm going to take this little home sticker. I'm going to take the foam tape off the back, and I'm going to put some Mod Podge down and then lay that down. It's still 3D even without that foam piece in the back. The little wreath on the front is just slightly lifted up, and I'll lay a little bit of Mod Podge over that as well. I think that's just really pretty. This one's going to be pretty neutral. Then I've got this sticker, Our Family's Gathering Place, and on the bottom it says sit long, talk much, and laugh often. And I'm going to cut those out into little pieces, including the little separator kind of things. I'm going to position them on the little square plaque, and then I'll take off the backing and place them on there. And I just think that this looks really cute. Very simple, not too bright or colorful. Like I said, I'm going to keep this one on the neutral side. That way it could be used all year round. I'm going to cover those stickers with Mod Podge. I'm going to take my Burnt Umber paint by Apple Barrel, and I'm just going to paint around all the edges of both of the house and the plaque. I've got this little plant from IKEA, and I always just pick little pieces out of it and I use it for little greenery. And then I've got this moss that looks like it's on a piece of burlap. I'm going to cut a rectangle out. I'm just going to hot glue it to the very bottom of the little square plaque. Once that's on there, I'm going to take some little pieces from that other plant from IKEA. I'm just going to hot glue them in place so it looks like there's little plants growing out of that grass. Then I've got these other cute little plant things. I think they came from maybe Target, from the dollar spot, on another little greenery piece. And I'm just going to put a couple little and just add a little dimension to it. Then I'm going to take that house and I'm going to use some E6000 in hot glue, and I'm going to attach it right at the top on top of the square plaque. Kind of want that layered look. And once this is on there, I'm going to take some craft paper and cover the back so you don't see what used to be there. I like to finish my signs whenever they look like they need to be finished. And I'm just going to add a little hanger made out of twine. It was so easy and it's just so neutral, and I think it would go anywhere. I think it just looked great and I love it. And I hope you do too. I think this one might be my favorite today. You'll have to let me know if you think so too.
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could
Sticker. Actually, I don't end up using it, but you'll see what I do. And this really gorgeous wooden watering can with the little wood cutouts, I am going to use my heat tool and just heat that up and use a little spatula and take them off. I get off as much as I can, and then I just go ahead and sand it. Sometimes they come off so easy and not other times. I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum Linen White chalk paint, and I'm just going to paint that base of the watering can and a little bit around the flowers. And then I'm going to use several different full guard apple barrel type colors. Got a turquoise and a pink, and then I'm going to use a yellow. I'm just going to start painting the flowers, just different colors. I want them to be really bright and vibrant, and then this beautiful bright green for the leaves. I've also got a sage by the Home Decor line of plaid. I'm going to do that one other leaf there. And then I've got these little paints that came from a little wood kit that I got, and I never used them, but I saved them. So I thought, oh, I'll just use those. And there are my flowers. And now I'm going to create a faux galvanized look using the steel chalk paint, the black paint, and then this brushed metal silver. And I'm just going to start dabbing. So I'll put a little on the brush, dab it off on the paper, and then dab it all over the watering can. You've probably seen me do this before on my channel. I love this effect. And now I'm putting some black on. And I did get a little heavy-handed with the black, but no problem, because I can just take the brushed silver and go over it. Or if I wanted to add a little more white back, I could do that. But I'm really happy with the way it looked. I really, really love this. So easy to do. Then I just took a baby wipe and I wiped off anything that got on the flowers. I've got these little round pop-up stickers, and I'm going to put one in the center of each of the 3 flowers on the bottom. It was really too small to put on the larger flower. So what I did was I found this little sunflower sticker from the Dollar Tree, and I cut it out and I put it in the center, and I thought that looked really cute. It almost makes the whole thing look like a sunflower, and like that's the center. Got this really beautiful 3D grateful, thankful, blessed kind of a wreath looking thing from the Dollar Tree. I've used them before. And I'm just going to put Mod Podge down over the entire thing. And then I'm going to place that little 3D sticker kind of wreath looking thing right in the center. It's so pretty. I'm going to put the Mod Podge over that as well. That way I can make sure it's going to stay and it's just going to look like the rest of it in that regard. This was such an easy project to do. You could paint the flowers any color you want. You could paint the watering can any color that you want. Then I'm going to add the little twine back that it came with, and that's it. So easy, so cute, and ready for spring. What do you think about this one?
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay
Today
here?
I'm going to take this little crate from the Dollar Tree. I often use these to make little book stacks. But this time I'm going to use it actually as a crate. I'm going to take my Antique Wax by Waverly and I'm going to paint the bottom and the two smaller sides, and then I'll wipe off any excess so it looks like a stain. Now I'm going to paint the two other sides and the inside with my white Rust-Oleum, well, it's linen white chalk paint. I'm going to take these two bunnies I got at Dollar Tree. I sanded around the edges because they were really kind of splintery. And I'm just kind of looking at how they will look if I put them on the sides. I'm going to paint the whole bunny front and back white to start with. Then I'm going to take the Antique Wax and I'm going to paint around the edges. I'm going to sand down the front a little bit to make it smooth and then wipe away any of the sanding dust. I'm going to take this little spackle container and draw a half circle because I want this to look like the back of a bunny, and I'm going to take the Antique Wax and just kind of go over that line that I drew and create the little bunny butt, the definition for that. I'll do that to both of these. And then I decided to turn them over and use the Antique Wax on the back as well. And I'm going to take a little nail file to sand on that little bunny butt line and just kind of mute it a little bit. I'm going to put Mod Podge all over all the pieces. And then on the short sides or the small sides, I'm going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue. And I'm going to put the bunnies right on there. It'll be almost like little bookends for the crate, if you will. And I did distress in those little lines on the crate as well with the Antique Wax. Now I'm going to take a yellow pom-pom and put one on each side. I ran out of the little white ones, so I had to use the yellow. And take a bag, a plastic bag, and just stuff it in there so I don't have to fill up the whole thing. I'm going to take some of this styrofoam, they're balls that I had cut in half, and I'm just going to put the flat sides glued into the bag. And then I'm going to take these gorgeous flowers from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut off some little pieces, and I'm going to have one hanging over between the bunny ears on each side. So there'll be two there and then one in the middle. And then I've got these dahlias, and I'm just going to cut some of those and put them in there. And I'm going to add some extra leaves that I had also cut off, just kind of fill up the little crate so it just looks like flowers are just spilling out, which I think is so pretty. This has got to be one of the easiest DIYs, and I just love how pretty it is. I'm going to use it as a centerpiece on our table. Let me know what you think. I found this wooden carrot at the Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square. I've also got this contact paper from the Dollar Tree and this cute little bee looking pinwheel flower. Got this cool ribbon. I'm going to cut out a piece of that contact paper that would just fit over the whole carrot, and I'll start at the top, and then I'll slowly pull the backing away from underneath while I'm using my other hand to kind of flatten it out, and that helps to avoid bubbles and wrinkles. I'm going to use my brayer over the top. I get that on Amazon, super good price there. If you're interested, you can check out my Amazon store. And then I'm going to use a nail file to go around the edges and just make very nice, clean cut of that paper. I've got that pinwheel flower, and I just took an X-Acto knife and cut out the bee looking fabric or plastic, and I'm going to use this green cool ribbon. I don't know what this ribbon is, but I love it. And I'm going to glue it to this flower petal, and now you see that it looks like it's like greenery. And then I'm going to make 3 of those, and I'm going to take some white acrylic paint, and I'm just going to paint that black stuff white. And now I've got the carrot. I'm going to take some rope from Walmart, and I'm just going to hot glue it all the way around the carrot and all the way around those 3 petals. And that keeps this looking rustic. I'm going to poke a hole back through the 2 holes that were already in the wooden carrot so I can put a hanger. And then I'm going to hot glue to the back with the white side facing front those 3 petals. And now they have become greenery on the carrot. Now I've just added some extra hot glue on the back and a piece of masking tape. I'm going to take this greenery that I also got on Amazon, and then I've got a ribbon made out of green burlap, and I'm just going to measure how long I want it to be, and I'm going to fold it over like 6 times and cut it. And then I'm going to fold the whole thing in half, and I'm going to cut a little slit on each side, and then I'm going to take some jute and tie the middle in a very tight knot, and then I'll trim off the excess jute. And now what I'm going to do is just pull out each of those little loops and kind of fluff my ribbon. And that's just a super, super easy way to make a ribbon. For the tail, I'm just going to measure out a piece that's long enough, and I'm going to cut it, I'm going to fold it in half, and then dovetail the ends. And then I'm going to hot glue the ribbon on top of right where the greenery meets the carrot. And I'm going to fold that tail and put it underneath with hot glue. And then I'm going to make a little banner looking fold down the tail. I'm going to do the same thing with a couple other ribbons that I used to do smaller versions of that same ribbon. And then I made 2 shoestring bows with these cute little ribbons I had. And I just hot glue them right to the center. Now I'm going to kind of trim that little greenery just to make little wispy pieces, hot glue them all the way around that top greenery. And I love how this turned out. It is such an adorable Easter spring carrot. I love it. Let me know what you think. Sticker hack. I've got this cute little box I found at the thrift store for $3. Looks like it originally came from TJ Maxx. And then I've got these cool little faux kind of metal stickers from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to turn this box into something that looks really vintage. I'm going to clean it with my crud cutter, take off the little hinges, and then I'm going to sand down the whole box and get rid of that little design on the top. And since it's just painted off, not too bad. There it is, ready to go. And I've wiped away all the dust. Next, I'm going to take my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just going to put a decent coat on the whole thing and then wipe away all the excess just to freshen it up and give it a little more dimension so it doesn't look quite as worn but still old. And there it is. I'm going to put back the hinges, and then we're going to go ahead and start using the stickers to embellish this. So I want this to be like a little treasure box where you keep important things. I'm making this for my husband. He loves stuff like this. And it's rustic, so he loves that. So I've got this really pretty cherish sticker, and then I'm going to put little embellishments. I don't know what you call those on the ends. And I put all different ones. It just looks so cute. And then I figured the stickers weren't strong enough, so I put some Aleene's Tacky Glue on the back of every single one just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Because sometimes the sticky stuff kind of comes off. And I added some more things to the corners of the 2 smaller sides. I'm also going to put some stickers on the back. They're all a little different, but they all look kind of vintage. On the top, I'm going to put this really cool little design, kind of like a mandala, but it comes in 3 parts. So it's got a center, a middle, and then an outside one. And I just thought that looked really nice on the top.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane.
And I found some other little embellishments to put in the 4 corners on the top. I'm going to take my Folk Art Brushed Metal Gold and my Apple Barrel Burnt Umber, and I'm going to make sure all the pieces are like the same color so it looks like they all go together. And that really makes such a difference because it really does look cohesive now, and I'm loving it. This was so easy to do, and it was really fun. I'm going to finish it off with some finishing wax that I got on Amazon. It'll be in my Amazon store, and that just kind of seals the wood, and I love it. Let me know what you think.
And now, there's something in the air, and a sparkly shimmer on our skin.
Little tool caddy that originally came from the Home Depot. I got it for $1.99, and I did get a discount on that. I've got these lemons and limes I ordered on Amazon, and this cute scrapbook paper that I also got on Amazon. And what I'm going to do is clean off this little caddy first with the crud cutter. Then I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I'm just going to paint the whole thing. I want it to have a nice clean white base. Once that's done, looks nice and fresh now. I'm going to cut out some of that scrapbook paper, and I lost the footage, but I cut a piece for each of the sides, the shorter tall sides, and then the two other sides. I'm just showing you a quick picture of it. I roughed up the edges with my scissor blade, which you don't get to see, but I just did that to give it a little bit nicer look. And then I also painted the top handle bright yellow, and I added some lemons in there with some greenery, and I made a little bow out of some Dollar Tree ribbon. And this is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like after. And I think it is so cute. It's got such a bright, fresh look, and I really, really love it. Let me know what you think. Wood oval. And then I've got these gorgeous rub-on transfers redesigned by Prima. I got them from Chalk It Up Fancy. They have a YouTube channel and a website, which I will link below because they're awesome. And then I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum chalked linen white paint. I'm going to paint the entire front and back of this piece and dry it with my heat tool. You know, I do that just so I can keep moving. But you guys know I'm impatient. And now moving on to the back. And then I'm going to take some Waverly ink paint, which is black, and I'm just going to paint around the edges, everything but the very flat top. And then I'm going to take some Mod Podge and cover flat front surface. I'm going to add a sawtooth hanger on the back. Got that at Amazon. And then there's the transfer that I decided to use. It's the cow that shows you all the parts of it that are, you know, what we eat, that's meat. Well, it's all meat, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I thought it was super cute for my little farmhouse kitchen. Now I'm just trying to find the exact positioning for it, because once you set it down, there's no turning back. So you have to have it in the right spot. I'm going to use a little scraper tool. And of course, I'm not going to show you how long I really did, but I really went over this thing. And then I very slowly pulled it off to make sure everything was adhering. And it did, so I was able to keep going. Otherwise, I would have laid it down and scraped a little more. Now I'm going to use my hand and burnish. You can also use a very soft cloth for that as well, but you definitely want to do that step whenever you do any kind of transfers. And then I'm going to use my Minwax One Coat Polyurethane top coat, and I'm just going to put that all over the entire piece, front and back. And you guys, it's so cute. I love it. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to take this page. I forgot which calendar it came out of. Sorry about that. But it was just a cute beach sign. And you know what? I'm going to use it as inspiration. I have this little sign. I got it like a long time ago. And I had already painted it white. It used to be gray. And I'm going to remove those little clips. And I'm going to recreate that beach sign as best as I can. And what I'm going to do first is take a pencil. And I'm going to, just by looking at it, try to recreate those letters. And I think I did pretty good. You know, it's kind of a rough surface to write on. And then I'm going to have to put my arrow to the right because there's just not enough room down there. Anyway, then I have like a Dremel. It's basically actually a kit for doing like acrylic nails, but I just put an attachment on the end that would be perfect for this. And I am just literally going to go over all of the letters that I drew out with my little Dremel tool. And then I've got the word beach with the arrow on there. And you guys, this was so easy. I could have used a scrap piece of wood. I just happened to have this sign and I thought, you know what? I'm not using it and there's just no reason to keep the clips on it. And look at that. It came out so cute. I'm going to mix so many different colors of acrylic paint and chalk paint that I'm not even going to list them because you know what? You can do this any color you want. I just kept messing with it. I bet I even have a paint color at the end that it was without having to mix, but you know what? Live and learn. So I just keep adding colors until I kind of get what I like. And like I said, do whatever you want. Use any kind of blue or I don't know, just either ocean color or sand color, something that goes along with that coastal theme. And guess what? This is going to go in my bedroom. Anyway, I'm taking a little paintbrush and I'm actually just dabbing it on, because you can't spread paint on this. It's too rough of a surface. It's very rough wood. And so I sped this up because who needs to watch me paint? We all know what that looks like. But there you go. Now you can see it. And you guys, I'm going to dry it with my heat tool from Amazon. And I just love this already. And then because the paint went over the edges a little, I'm just going to take the Dremel and go back over the edges and clean up the paint. And look at it. I honestly love this one. You'll have to let me know what you think. It's so cute. And I just got inspired by a picture on a calendar from Dollar Tree. Take one of those ovals and a little home sign cut out of wood And then I picked up this little doggy tail at IKEA. I've done a previous craft with them. I'll link it in my description box. And then the burnt umber paint by Apple Barrel and the linen white Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I'm going to sand my wood round down, and then I'm going to remove the tag. And then I'm going to paint the entire front and sides with the linen white paint. I didn't do the back right away, and I really don't know why, because I did that on all the other ones, but I do go back and do it later. So take a little piece of a drop cloth that I had cut up, and I'm going to wrap it around my finger, and I'm going to use it to rub on the burnt umber paint as though it were a stain. And once I get it on and it's fully covered, I will take the side of that piece and I will rub off any excess, and it will create a stain-like, finish for this, and that's exactly what I wanted. It also doesn't smell, and it's so much less expensive than buying stain. So I love this color for that. Now I'm going to take the little plaque, I'm going to kind of position the homeward where I want it, and the little doggy butt. And then I'm going to measure, because I want to put a nail in that's deep enough that it won't keep the little doggy butt off the surface of it, but it also holds it in place while the glue is drying. Just an extra security. So I'm just going to hammer that in once I figure out where. And I know exactly how deep I need it to be because I'm testing it right now. And you can see right there, I made it so it goes all the way to the surface of the plaque. Then I looked at the back, I put my sawtooth hanger on, and I realized I need to paint this. So I do. I paint it, and then I quickly dry it with my heat tool. Now I'm going to take the Beacon Fabric Tack glue, and I'm going to put it all across the back of the letters, and then I'll take a little brush and spread it out and make sure I don't have any, pieces that are kind of like hanging between the letters. And then I will attach that to the front of the little plaque. These little plaques are so versatile. You can do so many different things with them. And I'm going to put that down, give it a little pressure, and it will dry very quickly. Next, I'm going to take some E6000, and I'm going to put that on the back of my little doggy butt hook. And I'm going to leave gaps between each little dot that I put on, because that's where the hot glue is going to go, just to help it dry faster so that I can keep working. This was a triple whammy, a nail, E6000, and hot glue. It's not going anywhere. Now I'm making this for my mom because when I made my other one with the 3 little doggy butts, she wanted one so bad. By the way, she doesn't have any animals, she just wants it. And then I noticed I forgot to do that little back part that's hanging over, so I went with burnt umber and I got that taken care of. And that's it. How cute is this? I absolutely love it. I'm sure my mom's gonna love it. And you have to let me know what you think. For this thrift flip, I have this sign, and it's kind of old-fashioned, like the 70s or 80s maybe, and it was $3, but a really nice solid piece of wood. It already had a wire hanger on it. You cannot beat that, and some holes in the back. But it's got this hanging on the front, and I didn't really want that. So my mom has this little dish towel that I got her because she really loves cats, even though she doesn't have one anymore. And I said I could turn that into something to hang on her wall. So this piece is going to work for that. I'm going to take off that heart, and I'll use it for in the future. I'm going to take out those 2 little hangers that were on there and fill them with a little bit of wood filler. And then I'm going to sand it down. And then I realized, I haven't cleaned this yet. So I got my crud cutter out, and I cleaned it real quick. And once that's done, I am going to paint it with my Rust-Oleum chalk linen white paint, the whole thing front and back, because I do like to finish the back of my projects. And there it is, all nicely painted. It took 2 coats. And then I'm going to fussy cut the cat out of this picture. And it's going to, I'm not even going to worry about those whiskers, because I'm going to do something to make them come back to life. I'm going to use my Beacon Fabric Tack glue to attach it, because that's a really good glue for things like this. And it just sticks pretty quickly. You can move it around a little bit, but you've only got a small amount of time, but it's not like hot glue where you have to stop immediately and not adjust it. So I just did it in sections to make sure that I could get it really nice and straight and not get any little wrinkles. And then I'm just going to kind of burnish it and make sure it's laying down flat. And then I have this little piece of wood that was from something from Dollar Tree that I had cut off the excess. I'm going to paint it with the white chalk paint again, just to have a background. And then I'm going to cut out the words, "I'm a normal cat lady, you're a crazy people person," and it had a little paw on there too, so I'm just going to use the Beacon Fabri-Tac glue again and put that down. And then I'm going to use that same glue because it works on wood as well, and then I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue so it will stay right away and I can keep working on my project, and put that right up on top. Now I wanted to embellish this a little bit more, so I have this golden white twine that I got at Target, and I'm just going to cut out pieces that match with where the whiskers would be, and I'm only going to glue them to the part that's on the cat's face, and then I'm going to let the rest kind of be free, so it becomes like a three-dimensional thing with those whiskers, and I think it's super cute. And then I cut out a bunch of little paws in that fabric, and I'm going to glue each one of those down using my Fabri-Tac glue, and just kind of randomly place them around the cat. And that's it. And this one, it's really, really cute. Nice, hefty sign. And reminder, that's what it looked like first. And I love it. My mom loves it. She's already got it up in her bedroom to add to her cat collection of pictures. And she's got statues and you name it. She loves cats. She just doesn't want to have one anymore. She's had them for years. Let me know what you think. They're never the same. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to use one of those oval, thicker pieces. And this little succulent planter that had a magnet on the back and then a succulent. It's not the one that came with it. And then my moss and celery chalk paint by Waverly. Around the outside edge, not the very top, I'm going to use the moss colored. I'm going to dry it with my heat tool so I can move on. Then I'm going to take the celery color and I'm going to do the whole front. And then on the back, I'm going to do the moss again. I just thought that would look really nice. And of course, I like to finish my backs. And then I'm going to take some polyurethane finish and I'm going to put it all over the entire piece. Then I'm going to take a little sawtooth hanger that I got from Amazon, just going to put it on there before I go any further. Now I'm going to take some of the rope that I got from Walmart and I'm just going to hot glue it around that edge. That way I didn't have to be so perfect about my painting on the edge. So just one strand all the way around. I'm going to use hot glue to attach that. Then I'm going to take that little container and I'm going to use the hot glue and I'm just going to put the rope or twine all the way around it, and I'm just going to keep going around and around. Actually, I'm going to go around the first time and then I'm going to go just like a U-shaped over and over until it gets to the very middle and that finishes it off, which I'll skip ahead here so you don't have to watch me gluing everything. But I did want a piece along the back there so you wouldn't see the plastic. So then I'm going to cut that piece off and see how I went around and around, but the edges at the top are rough. So I'm going to put some more pieces just around the top to kind of finish that off. It'll take about 3 pieces around to make it look done. And it's so cute. So I'm going to hot glue that right there onto the little oval. And that little copper looking flower, I didn't end up using that. And then I'm going to play around and see which is the best way to put my succulent in. And then I'm going to take a combination of reindeer moss and a little bit of the green moss. I'm just going to put it inside the little container or vase. And then I'm going to put the succulent right in there. Now, after this was done, I felt like it needed to be a little different. So I then took another one of those little containers and I painted it with the moss color, and then I dry brushed with the white over the top and around the other on the outside. And I'm going to use that other one. I'm going to make a little beehive out of it. Can you see it? Anyway, this was easy. Let me know what you think or which one is your favorite. Two signs from the Dollar Tree, this rectangular one and this kind of word bubble one. And then I am also going to use some of these really cool stickers from the Dollar Tree. They're like risen up a little, and I'm going to use those little corner pieces. So I needed 2 batches of them to get all 4 corners. I'm going to remove the twine from this sign. I'm not going to be using it, but I will save it, of course. And then I'm going to remove the tags, and I'm also going to remove the little sawtooth hanger on the word bubble sign. Took a little heat gun to get that thing off. For some reason that was on there good. So I sanded it down just a little to get rid of all the stickiness. And I'm gonna get rid of that little edge of the bubble side. I just want it to be an oval. So I'm just gonna take my utility knife and kind of score it many times and then on both sides. And then I can just kind of bend it off and then clean up the edges with my utility knife and also sanding around there. It's super easy to do. Now I'm not going to take the word dreams off because I'm going to have that covered up. And now I just want to figure out how wide it is and how tall it is. I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum chalked linen white paint. But before I do that, I almost forgot I'm going to fill in the little holes for the hanger because we won't need it. And now I will go ahead and paint it. And I did do 2 coats to make sure you couldn't see any of that brown. And then I went around the edges as well. I'm going to use my Waverly ink color, which is just black. And I'm just going to do around the edges of the rectangular from the back side because I'm going to put the oval in the middle and you won't see it. I'm going to lightly sand both pieces and then I will hot glue the oval right over the center of the rectangle. Now again, I'm getting some measurements because I want to make a frame, but first I made a stencil using my Cricut of the world. You guys, I just love this so much. I'm placing the stencil down and then I'm going to use 3 different paint colors and do an ombre effect. So I'm going to use Ocean, Lagoon, and Pool from Waverly. I love this. I'm going to use a piece of tape to section off the area. So the top is going to be the darkest and it'll gradually get lighter. So that's the ocean color. I'm using a makeup sponge just to dab it on. I'm going to take that off. I have to be super careful because there's parts of the world that are really narrow there. And I'm going to apply another piece of tape and I'm going to do the middle color. It was Lagoon. Then I'm going to take a wet paintbrush. I'm going to use my mister to get it wet and I'm going to kind of smudge up the line between the 2. Then I will take off the bottom piece of tape and I will use the Pool color chalk paint for the very bottom. And again, just dabbing it on. I don't want it to bleed. The stencil's adhesive, but it could still bleed if you're not careful. And again, I'm going to use a wet paintbrush and blur the line between, and that creates the ombre. I absolutely love this look. It's so cool. Now I'm just going to pull off the stencil very carefully and look at that. Oh, it looks so good. It's exactly what I wanted. I'm going to take my white paint and just touch up any little speckles or spots that I got and I'm going to use my heat tool to dry it. So I'm going to be putting another decal over the top. I use my Cricut to make, oh, the places you'll go. I just love that saying. You know, I think that's Dr. Seuss. And I'm just going to put that over the map. Unfortunately, it did take off a little bit of my paint, but I will go back in and touch that back up. No problem. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I'm a big traveler. It's my favorite hobby, actually before crafting even. And now I'm just doing my touch-up. I got some scrap wood at Lowe's for free. I cut them into pieces that would fit around the rectangle, which you know I measured that already. I'm going to use some Waverly Antique Wax. And I do spray a little bit of water on the wood to make this glide a little better. And that way I don't have to worry about it going right into the wood super deep. So I'm just going to do all sides of the wood. And there I am kind of positioning it, dry fitting it to see how it's going to look. Then I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm going to put the 2 sides on first. And then I will attach the bottom and the top pieces. Now there are some gaps because of the way I cut it, but I wanted that on purpose and you'll see why in just a minute. So now I've got this greenery that I got on Amazon. It's in my Amazon store. I believe this is the eucalyptus. And I just cut up some little pieces of that pick. And because there's a gap there, I'm going to use it almost like a little garden window type thing. So I'm going to hot glue those pieces after I'll kind of dry fit them first and see what I like, and then hot glue them in. I'm going to put some craft paper on the back because 1, there's an ugly sign there. 2, I hate to leave my things unfinished. And then I put those little stickers on the corners. And then I found this other cute one that says Explorers. And I put that one right between where the 2 pieces of greenery meet in the middle. And you guys, I love this one. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to put it up in my house. I really, really love it. I hope you do too. And it's on trend with this travel inspired piece. That makes me feel like I'm with the times here. Take one of the oval rounds, of course, And then I found these lemons at IKEA, and they were on sale from $4.99 to $3.59. And there's quite a few in there, and I thought that was a pretty good deal. And then I've got some, little leaves that left over from some pics and some other ones. And then my burnt umber paint by Apple Barrel. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my mister that I got on Amazon. I'm gonna get a little bit of the burnt umber paint. I'm gonna mist all over my little wood oval, and then I'm just gonna start putting the burnt umber on there. And what it does is it just glides over the top and it waters it down, and then you can move it around very easily and get the desired look that you want. So then I turned it around, got the other side with some of the mist, and just continued on. And you just keep adding more and more of the burnt umber paint until you get the look you want. If it's too light, add more of the paint. If it's too dark, add more of the water. And this is such a nice way of doing this to give it that really nice stained look, but without the wood absorbing it too quickly. I'm going to take my heat tool and dry it. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the back, but I don't need to be quite as careful about it because the back, you won't see it very much. And then I'm going to put the polyurethane one coat all over the front and back. Once that dries, I'm going to take these larger wood beads that I got on Amazon, and I'm going to put them, there's no corners, but if there were, put 4 of them on the bottom. And I'm going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue so that it will dry right away with the hot glue and then stay very well with the E6000. And here we go. I'm just going to do that with all 4 of what becomes my little legs, but they're the little wooden beads. And I'm going to keep them natural. I think it's a nice contrast. Now I'm going to put the hole against the wood so that when it's sitting down, you don't see the bottom hole because it's laying on top of it. It's the best way, I think, to put them. Plus, it gives it a little bit of more of a flat surface to lay on. And I can squeeze that hot glue right into that hole so it oozes out when I turn it over, and that'll help with the hold. There we go. So now I have a little riser. Now I could have made it taller, but I like those beads a lot. So I'm going to take 3 of these lemons. Now I thought they were going to be styrofoam and I was going to cut them. Now listen to this. Oh my gosh, had no idea. They were like golf balls. Seriously, they felt like golf balls. So now I'm going to hot glue this greenery right on into the middle. And then I'm going to tack down each of the 4 leaves because I want them to lay a little more flat. The lemons are going to be sitting up high enough. And then I'm going to do again E6000 and hot glue combination with the 3 lemons and place them where I want. And then those last 2 little greenery picks, I'm just going to kind of hot glue them in between some of the lemons. This is so cute. You could set this on a shelf, on a tier tray. It's just adorable, honestly. It could be on another riser. It's so cute and festive and bright. I love it for my kitchen, and I cannot wait to style it with all of the rest of my spring things. And if I want, this could stay up through the summer as well because it's just so bright and cheery. I don't know what it is about lemons. It's like lemons and oranges. They're just so fresh. Anyway, I really love that look. And I don't know, just makes you kind of happy. Makes me think of lemonade. Tell me what you think. How would you have done this? Would you do the same thing I did? Or would you have made it taller? It's also something that you could make 2 levels if you wanted by adding something taller between. Hack. I have this bowl. I don't know if it's teak, but it reminds me of teak. Got it for 50 cents. I actually got 2 of them. And see those little dandelion blue stickers? I'm going to use those from the Dollar Tree or decals. They're so cute. Took off the stickers, cleaned the bowl with my cred cutter real good. It's amazing. Things don't look dirty, but when you clean them, they really are. So you always have to clean them from the thrift store. At least I want to do that for sure. I'm sure most of you do too. Okay, once that was done and all dry, I took some painter's tape and it just went up around the very top edge. I wanted to just make one little area white. I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. And I'm just going to paint from the tape line down to where it naturally kind of ends before it angles off towards the bottom. And I just thought that would look super, super cute. Did a couple coats, dried it with my heat tool from Amazon. And now the best part, removing the tape. Gosh, I love that so much. Anyway, it just looks great. Now, it's not perfect because it's round, but you know what? I'm not trying to have perfection. I just wanted kind of a 2-tone effect, color blocking, if you will. I'm going to put polyurethane finish over just the white paint just to seal that in. And then once it's dry, I'm going to take my little dandelion stickers or decals. I'm just going to use kind of the smaller versions of them. There's 2 different small sizes. I'm going to just start putting them around, and then I'll fill in some of the gaps as I go, and I really like the way it looks. And then I'm just going to cover it with the polyurethane again. And then I have 3 corks that I was given by my stepdaughter, and I'm going to paint those in the linen white paint again, except for the part I'm going to glue on to the bottom. And it took a couple coats, by the way, to do that. And then I'm just going to use some E6000 and hot glue like I usually do when I want something to really stay. So I'm putting the E6000 right in the middle and then the hot glue around it, and I'll do that for all 3 of the legs. And I just thought that made it look a little different to have the legs on it. I thought it was super, super cute. This is such an easy project. All you need is a bowl, paint a little bit, and some decals, and I love it. And you can stage this in so many ways. I think it's great. And the inside of the bowl is still the way it was, so you can use it for anything. Use this flat oval wood piece. It's not as thick as the other one, and I'm going to show you the difference right here between the 2, but they're both still oval and they're still wood. You can find these at Family Dollar also. And then I ordered these half beads on Amazon. They're in my Amazon store. And then these are stickers I got at Walmart. And then I have some rub-on transfer letters from the Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to do is create a sign to put outside of our bathroom. It's going to say the loo, which I think is super cute. It's what they say in England, and I just love that. I'm going to use my heat tool from Amazon to take off the tags. And then I'm going to use my sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree to sand down the wood. And now I'm just going to take my half beads and place them all around. I'm going to kind of start with the 4 edges, if you will, and then work my way in and try to make it so that they'll be evenly spaced. And then I'm going to use some wood glue. And I'm just going to place them one at a time. I'm going to use a little brush to put it on there so I don't get a lot of excess. I'm just going to go ahead and place them all the way around until I get them all. And then the last one I had to sand around the edges a little bit to make it fit because it was super tight, but it worked. And there it is, all done. Now I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum chalked linen white paint. I'm going to do 2 coats on the front and back, and I'm going to work my way through all those beads, all around the edges and in the little nooks and crannies. And then once it all dries, I'm going to use my polyurethane clear coat to go ahead and put that on the top. But first, I'm going to take my letters. I want to use my Waverly ink chalk paint, which is black. I'm going to do 2 coats on the letters, get all the way around the edges. And I use tape to attach them to that paper so they don't move around, especially when I dry them. And then I'll do that second coat. And there is that polyurethane. I'm going to put that on there as well. And here we go with that for the oval piece. I just want to make sure that there's a nice smooth surface for my rub-on transfers to stick to. And I'm going to use a little ruler and just try to find my center. And with these, I'm just using my fingernail because they're so small. And then I use my little Cricut weeding tool to pull off the plastic. And then always remember to rub down on top and burnish them so that there's no edges that are still sticking up. Because believe it or not, if there are, it can become a problem later. Now I'm going to position my word loo and just try to figure out how I'm going to put that on there. And I'm going to use my Beacon Fabric Tack glue to attach those right there. That way I control how much goes on and there won't be anything like really oozing out of the sides. I didn't want to do hot glue for this. I really want to make sure it's stuck on there long term. This is so cute. I've got this piece that can go on the wall and then you can attach the sign so it's sticking out, not flat on the wall or on the door, but sticking out. I don't know if the piece I have is going to work. If not, I'll try to rig something. So for this video, I won't be able to show you that hanging up on the wall, but in the meantime, at least you'll get to see it. This was super easy. It's so cute and I absolutely love it. I've seen people do powder room signs or bathroom, but I thought the loo was a little different and I absolutely love it. I hope you guys like it too. That's the piece I was talking about. It's a very heavy metal, so I'm not sure if it's going to work. I may have to pick something a little bit lighter, but that's how it would look sideways. I'm taking this thrifted item. It looks like it was originally from Hobby Lobby. I got it for $3. It was $7.99. And then here are the Dollar Tree stickers or decals that I'm going to use. I'm just going to take those flowers around the edges of that one. I had cut it up before. And then ballet slipper chalk paint and Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. There are all the pieces cut. I'm going to take the ballet slipper. I'm just going to start painting it all over the pig. There it is. I'm going to dry it with my heat tool. And then I'm going to go through and just kind of clean up all the white. It's like a very thin metal, but it was kind of dirty looking, but with a brown. And I'm going to use a different color to do it. I'm going to take a nail file, also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to start going around the edges to bring back out those rough edges, but that wasn't enough. So I'm using a little sanding block with a 60 grit sandpaper, and that seems to be helping me. But I'm going to also take this black acrylic paint from Apple Barrel and just use a little edge of a foam brush and go around. And now that's a lot more than I wanted, but I am going to go back over it with some white just to tone it down a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to do just a little bit of black, you know what I mean? Anyway, I will fix that and I end up really loving it. But in the meantime, I'm going to take those, we'll just call them decals. Anyway, I'm going to take those decals and I'm going to start figuring out where I want them. I want it to look like the pig is walking by a fence with like flowers all around it. So I'm just going to cut the edges off with my blade, and I'm going to cut wherever it makes contact with another edge so it kind of lays flat. If I have to cut them up into little pieces, I will do that. You can do this any way you want, okay? And even like hanging over the edge like that one was. And I really like it. And then I got a suggestion from a friend, Leonette at DIY Beauty on Purpose. I was showing her my pig, and she said, add some real flowers for like a 3D effect. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a great idea. So first I added a butterfly. Now, I'm also going to put Leonette's channel down in the description box for you to check her out because she always has great ideas. I love bouncing ideas off of her. And now I'm going to take this little, I think this is boxwood, and I'm just going to cut up teeny little pieces. And then I have these flower petals because everything was getting too green almost. So I got these flower petals that had different colors of pink or magenta, and I kind of cut them off of a flower, poked a hole in the middle, and now I'm putting these little wild kind of greenery pieces that I painted pink and added some more white on them in a minute here. I'm going to hot glue those on, and there I am adding that white. They were just too pink like the pig. I was trying to get them to stand out a little bit more. And then I forgot what these are called, but I just cut up little pieces of these. And then I started putting the boxwood on the back. That way it would poke through every opening on the back. You would see it, and also along the edges. Anyway, I did go a little crazy. I'll admit it. It was one of those times where I might have needed to stop, but I didn't. But I just liked it so much. It's really cute. It's turning out a little bit shabby chic, but I think it can still work with farmhouse. Now I'm going to go in with the white. Just put a little bit and then smear it with my hand. I figured I have to wash my hands anyway. And just used up the last of the little stickers. And I gotta tell you, I really, really like this one. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's so adorable. I've got this sheer pink ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm just gonna put it through the holes, hot glue it down to the back, and then put another piece of ribbon across that middle part of the fence just to secure it. But then I like my backs finished, so I ended up taking the pink and I painted the whole back. Not sure if I really needed to do that, but okay, it's done. Let me know what you guys think. What would you have done? Tree, and I decided to turn it into a cute little farmhouse standing sign. I'm going to paint the entire back and around the frame with my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and when that dries, I'm going to take some scrapbook paper and I'm going to cut out the exact shape of the rectangular portion of this sign. And once I have that, I'm going to take the blades of my scissors and I'm going to rough up all the edges completely around this entire piece of scrapbook paper to give it a more rustic kind of weathered look, which I really like. I'm going to use my glue stick and attach that right onto the whiteboard. I've got 2 more pieces of scrapbook paper, different patterns, and I'm going to cut out the shapes, but I'm going to make each one about 1/4 of an inch smaller than the one that's going to be underneath it. That way you can see each piece of paper like layered. And once I get them cut out, I'm also going to rough up the edges on those 2 pieces with my scissor blade. And then I'm going to take my glue stick and attach them directly to the middle of the front of the easel so that you see the 3 layers. And I just think that's so cute. I have this little barn. It was on a piece I got from a thrift store, and I cleaned it up, and then I'm removing that back hanger. I've got this really cool staple remover that I got on Amazon that takes stuff off really easily, and I'm going to use my apple barrel. It's called Flag Red Paint, and I'm going to paint over all the red because it was just more rust looking and I wanted it to look more red. Then I'm going to take my jot marker in black and I'm going to go over the parts that were black, like the roof line, the edges of the roof, and then the box in the middle. And I'm going to draw the barn doors as well. I'm going to take my chalk marker from Dollar Tree and I'm going to go around the big window in the barn and I'm going to make an X. And then I'm going to use that same white to kind of do some distressing and accents. I'm going to do lines straight down, you know, like as if it was planked wood that looked worn on the edges. And then I'll take the jot marker and go back over the black parts that I kind of covered a little bit with that and just clean that up a little bit. And I'm just loving the way this is turning out. It's just adorable, and it's going to be a cute little thing to put either on a tier tray or sing on a shelf or just, you know, just in the kitchen even. I think it would look really cute. And then I'm just going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to put a bunch of hot glue on the back so it's nice and secure. And I'm just going to attach it right to the center of my easel. Then I'm going to take some jute twine from the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to put some little dots of hot glue around as I wrap it around, starting at the bottom all the way up to the top, right around the edges. And then I'm just going to tie a cute little bow. And that is going to be it for this one. I absolutely love it. It turned out so cute. I'm going to use 3 of those little boxes that usually have the drawers in them from the Dollar Tree, and 2 of these little teeny cutting boards I got at Hobby Lobby on 40% off clearance. They're adorable. And then I always save little pieces of things that I don't use. So I've got a chicken, a tractor, and then this little like half circle shape. And these were literally such a good price. They were $3.99 each, but 40% off. And I'm going to use the plaster color chalk paint from Waverly and the truffle color chalk paint from Waverly. Now, one of these boxes was already painted white previously, but I'm going to sand the other 2 down, and I'm still going to go over them with the plaster color because it's just off-white. And I know that other white will look different if I don't cover it. I'm going to paint all 3 boxes, inside, outside, bottom, everything. And then I'm going to sand down my little pieces. I'm going to paint the half circle plaster on both sides, and then just the back of the chicken and the tractor with the plaster color as well. Next, I'm just going to kind of play around with them and determine where I would like to place them. So I've decided I'm going to use a combination of hot glue and liquid adhesive to put the chicken and the tractor on the 2 outside boxes. And I'm going to wait to add the little half circle. Now I'm going to take the truffle and a foam brush and just very lightly touch all of the edges, the entire box, every possible edge there is. And I'm just loving that little farmhouse antiquing look that it gives. Kind of goes into the wood a little bit, so it's like not a clean line. And then I just added a little bit to the edges of those pieces and around the middle, very lightly dry brush. So now I can go ahead and figure out the placement of the half circle. Now I'm going to take that liquid adhesive and the hot glue and attach all 3 boxes to each other. So that way I've got one piece now going forward. Then I'm going to cut up some cardboard to lift up that middle piece because I can't get it on there without it interfering with the chicken and the tractor. And by doing this, it kind of puts it slightly above it, and then I can get some glue on the back and attach it, and that really makes a huge difference. So if you're ever working with pieces that don't lay the same, this is a great way. Just kind of paint the edges of the cardboard like I did with the truffle, and it will just be hidden and you really won't even notice it. Next, I'm going to take last year's farmhouse calendar. I'm going to go to the back of it and cut out this cute little picture that just says Farm Fresh. I'm going to trim it down to size so that it fits right on that little half circle. And I'm going to use that liquid adhesive on the back, and I'm just going to put it on there and then get my brayer out and make sure every piece of it is touching the surface. And it's super, super cute. I'm going to distress around the edges of that, and I got a little too much on there, so I just quickly grabbed a baby wipe and I was able to clean it up right away. Now I'm going to take my little cutting boards and get rid of the tags, and I'm going to do a tight bond, which is like a heavy duty wood glue, and I'm going to put that on both sides and then a little bit of hot glue just to get it to stick for right now so that I can keep working. And it's a little wider than the 3 boxes, but because I have some pieces hanging over on the front, I had to let the extra go to the back. You really won't notice it. Now, I'm going to take a big piece of twine, it's a little thicker, make a knot, put a little drop of hot glue. I'm going to wrap some tape around the edge of my twine. I'm going to put some of the bigger beads on there. They're just natural. I'm not going to paint them. I got them on Amazon. Really good deal. I'm going to put just enough to make it to the other side, and then I'm going to string the twine right through, make another knot, and then add a dab of hot glue to make sure it stays in place. And now I have a cute little farmhouse handle for this caddy. You could use this for so many different reasons, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Goodwill, and I thought this would be so much fun to bring it into more the modern times. So what I'm going to do is clean it off, of course, with my crud cutter, and then I'm going to sand it down a bit just to make sure that I can paint over it. And of course, use my little ladybug vacuum from Amazon, clean up all that sawdust. Then I'm going to grab my Kills primer paint in white, and I'm going to paint this. Now, I have a friend, her name is Leonette at DIY Beauty on Purpose, and she does this really cool technique that I really wanted to try, and that's where you paint on your paint in one direction, and then you go back in the exact opposite direction, and it leaves this really neat texture. So that is what I'm going to do. Here is a little bit of a close-up of me doing that, and I really like the way it looks when it's all dry. It just has such a neat texture to it, and I can see why she does it, and now I think I'm going to be doing that more often. So thanks, Leonette. I'll put her link down in my description box if you'd like to check her out. I'm going to take my sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go around all of the actual edges just to give it a little bit of a distressed look. Then I'm going to take my ink paint by Waverly, that's chalk paint, and I'm going to do around the edges on the 2 sides and across the top. I'm just going to make those black, and that's going to be my black and white look on this one. And I love the contrast. It's just very modern farmhouse, super cute, and you guys, so easy. This is such an easy DIY. I don't know why, but it's pretty satisfying watching, like, painting the edges like that. I sped it up, but I still really like watching it. I hope you guys do too. And now I'm painting the top little edges that I was talking about before, where the hole is just on the very top. I'm not going to do it on the bottom. I've got these cute little cutouts from the Dollar Tree. There's a pumpkin and a leaf, and I decided to take the leaf one. Looks like it has burlap around the edges, but it doesn't. And I'm just going to hot glue it right to the front of the mason jar that fits right into that hole. And then I'm going to put the mason jar back up in the hole, and I'm going to attach it with the rim of the mason jar, and that keeps it right in place. Then I've got these cute little pics from the Dollar Tree that have pine cones and cotton, and I guess that's kind of a little cattail. And I'm going to keep this simple, and I'm just going to put it in there. I feel really good about how it turned out, and I hope you like it. adorable Let's Get Cozy sign over online at Antique Farmhouse for $26. And I think I can make this for less. I found this little framed metal art at Hobby Lobby on 70% clearance. It was like $3.74, so 70% off that. Very cheap. Now there's a lot of stuff to remove here that I have to use my heat gun for, so I am just gonna work away in fast motion and get all of that stuff off. Took a little heat and a little muscle, but I did get them all off, and now we are ready to go ahead and start making that adorable little sign. Now the wood that they used for their sign was a lighter wood. This is stained much darker, so I'm gonna sand some of it off. I'm also gonna need some beads and some twine to create the little hanging thing that drapes across the sign. Now where that metal thing was, I had to fill it in with a little bit of wood filler and sand that down because I needed a smooth surface. I'm going to use the plaster colored paint by Waverly. Now, okay, I should have taken the base picture out of the frame. I didn't think of it till I got a little further along. So if you're thinking it now, yeah, I know, I should have done it. Anyway, I didn't at this point, so I was trying to be so careful not to get the paint on the frame. I did have to wipe some of it off, but that's okay because you know what? Things happen. So now I'm just adding a little bit of the plaster and then wiping off some of it from the frame so that I can lighten it even a little more. I'll never get it to their color of wood because it was already stained. I would have had to sand that thing way down. I'm going to use some painter's tape to create the little stripes that were on there, and I'm going to use ink color chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to water it down. I have a little spray bottle there, and literally I'm just going to put a whole bunch on and then kind of dab it off, and then you'll see when I remove the tape there's just a nice little line, but it's not like super dark and solid. So I'm going to follow the pattern on the original one and do it exactly like they did. There's some darker, thicker stripes and some very faint, narrow stripes, and that's what I'm doing right now with the tape. And I just use the same pieces of tape over and over because they're always dry by the time I get them back on there. And I'm basically treating this like a stencil, so I'm not painting it on, I'm dabbing it on. Just wanted to mention that. I probably should have used a little dabber, but I just took a regular paintbrush and kind of tapped it on there. That way it wouldn't be that super solid line. In order to do the letters, I have tons of Dollar Tree alphabet stickers, and I decided to use those for 2 of the words, and then I'm going to handwrite the other one. And I could have used my Cricut, but I just had these handy and I decided to go ahead and use them. So the font for the word cozy is different than the one in the picture, but I like it. It's kind of more cutesy and it fits the word. And then the font for get, that's fine. It looks great. And then the word let's, they had it in like a cursive, so I decided to hand draw it with a pencil while looking at theirs, and then I go in with some paint and then eventually with a marker to darken that and make it look better. I'm not great at the lettering, I'm learning, but you know what? I do think it turned out cute, so I was very happy with how that part turned out. Next, I'm going to take the twine and the beads, and you don't paint the beads in this one, they just stay natural. So there's like a pattern, it's 2 beads and then a tassel, 2 beads and then a tassel, and then 2 beads. Now I'm going very fast here, so what I'm going to do is in my description box I will have a link for a very good tassel tutorial that I made months ago. I'm just going to do it quickly here and get this thing assembled. Once I have everything strung on the twine, I'm going to attach part of it to the back because it drapes over from the right side to the left side. And I'm just going to hot glue it down and make sure I don't cover up any of the words. And I even trim my tassels a bit just to make sure that I don't cover the words. And then I kind of tack everything down a little bit with a drop of hot glue to make sure it's laying exactly where I want it to. Sometimes I get excited when I'm making things and then I forget a step, which is putting Mod Podge over the whole top of the sign. So I had to move the tassels around a little bit, but I got it covered. And now I'm going to hot glue the sign piece back into the frame, which fits perfectly because I had just pried it out carefully. And this sign has turned out so cute, and I literally made it for less than $4. The original was $26. Let me know what you think. slip. I picked up this little sign from the Goodwill. It was super cute, said something cute, but it just wasn't really my style. So I took off the tag and then I sanded off the words, and I didn't want to just cover it with paint because I'm going to use a white paint and they're darker. So I just sanded them off, used my ladybug vacuum to clean up like I always do. You know, all my tools are always down in my Amazon store. And then I'm using my Kills primer in white. I love that. I use that in place of chalk paint a lot to cover larger surfaces. And it actually is going to take a couple coats to cover this, but no problem. It's such a small little piece. You know, of course, I realized I probably should take off the hanger. So I stopped before I got to the top and I took off the little hanger, just had to untwist it. And it's just got two little holes where they put that in. And then I'm going to paint everything, including that cute little embellishment at the top, which I think is so cute. People make those like out of clay and then add them to signs. And it was kind of cool to see it was already there. So that's the first coat done. And then I'm going to use my heat gun to dry between coats. And even when you don't see me do it, I always use the heat gun in between. I'm going to do the back and then I'm going to turn it back over and do the second coat on the front. And that way it looks very, very white. And that's what I was going for. And now I was going to try to use some painter's tape to kind of block off the edges. And use my marker to paint around them. But look what happens while I dry it. But look what happens after I take off the tape. Nice bleed. So I ended up just making my line a little thicker. It was super easy to fix. And I just know that with a marker, you really can't use even painter's tape. It's just because of the wood grain. I guess it goes right underneath. So I drew my outline all the way around the front and then on the sides of the entire sign. And I just love the way that look. Gives it kind of that farmhousey type look. But I'm, again, still going for the cottage core. And I think that embellishment at the top really helps add that to it. Gives it a little more of the almost shabby chic, but not quite. Just finishing up the marker, and then of course that's got to dry. If you get that on your hands, oh my gosh, anything you touch is going to have that on it forever. Because I'm using a permanent marker, of course, right? And then this part wasn't too hard. I sped this up, but I actually did this very slowly so that I wouldn't get too crazy. And if I got too thick, I just kind of adjusted, you know. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some antique wax paint from Waverly, and I'm just going to distress that embellishment. I'm going to put a bunch on, and then I'm going to take a baby wipe and wipe it off, and I'll go back and forth till I get the look that I want. I just didn't want it on the white part. I have these really cool thick letters from Walmart, and I'm going to spell out the word eat. So I'm just going to take my marker and I'm going to cover over that kind of bronze color on the E, A, and T, and I will also dry that, and then I'm going to put that on the sign and center it, and it's so cute. I could see this like in an English cottage somewhere. I really could, and it was so easy. You could do this with any sign. You could add any embellishment, honestly, any lettering you want. But this reminded me almost of like the London Tube, which is their subway, and how signs would look, and I just really liked it. And once I get my letters placed, I'm just going to add the little hanger back, and that's it. It was so easy, and it turned out so adorable. Let me know what you think. I'm loving this one. For more inspiration, here's another video I think you'll really like. If you click on it, I will see you there. You are truly a blessing to me. Bye!